Oh, nope, nope, nope. Where did that? There it is. Gimme. Uh, hmm, there we go. All right, it begins. I forgot. I forgot I was playing that. Oh, you're in here too. She hides under my desk, and I sometimes forget she's there. Whoa. Oh, good. Violence and gore. All right. I ain't messing around. Let's go.
視線が空から降ってくる。その瞳はいつも僕を見つめていて、眼差しは熱くて真っ黒な雨雲を突き抜けて、雨のように僕へと降り注ぐ。僕を見るな。雨の冷たさより、背中を預けている瓦礫の冷たさのせいで、さっきから体の震えが止まらない。ひどく寒い。突き刺さってくる誰のものかもわからない天からの視線。それから逃げるように、僕はわずかに首を持ち上げて周囲を見回す。そこにあるのは崩壊した街。そこにあるのは絶望。そこにあるのは死。そこにあるのは無。誰もいない。誰も動いていない。誰も生きていない。聞こえるのはただ降り続ける雨の音だけ。このまま全てを、生きているものも死んでいるものも、全てを優しく包み込んで洗い流してしまうんだろうか。全部の出来事が単なる妄想だったらよかったんだけど、どうやらそうでもないらしい。体が動かない。動かせるのはかろうじて首と瞳だけ。体が震えているけど、そんなのただの生理現象でしかない。僕の意志じゃない。僕は身を震わせたいなんて思ってない。僕の自由にならないなら、こんなの僕の体じゃない。あるいは、生まれた時から僕は自由なんかじゃなかったかもしれない。心の保管してある場所なんて誰にもわからないんだ。それなのに、一体誰がこの体の中に僕の心があるって言い切れるんだ。でも、だったら僕はどこにいたんだろう。 僕はここにいるのかな。僕はどこにもいないのかな。すべてが静止している壊れてしまった世界に、ふと死の雨以外の音が響く。無の中から浮かび上がってくるたった一つの湯。君は誰？その肌が青白く見えるのは雨の冷たさに凍えているから、それとも君がもう死んでいるから。でも彼女は震えていなかった。そして前髪で隠れそうになっているその瞳は、僕を見るな。ひどく悲しそうにも見える。狂気じみているようにも見える。何も映していないようにも見える。もしも世界には僕と彼女の二人だけしかいなくて、こうしてお互いだけを永遠に見つめ合っていたら、僕の世界は彼女の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の世界は僕の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の瞳に映るものは僕。僕の瞳に映るものは彼女。そう考えると、世界は途端に矮小化する。
ねえ、
不意に僕の耳に届くとても綺麗なノイズ。彼女はうなだれて両手を左右に広げる。まるであの雨雲の上へ向けて飛び立とうとするかのように、あるいはこの雨すべてを受け止めようとするかのように。
あなたは別に
That's not where I was expecting this to go.
うなだれた彼女の表情
That's
は
really not where I was expecting this to go.
僕の位置からも伺い知ることができない。雨の薄膜の向こうで君はどんな顔をしている？
殺してあげる。
天使。乱舞する光の羽は僕を祝福しているのか、それとも、ああ、そうか。理解したよ。それで僕を殺してくれるんだね。ゆっくりと倒れている僕の前に彼女が膝をつく。いまだに彼女はうなだれたまま。僕の頭をそっと抱えてくる。僕を見てくれないことに僕はほっとしてただ身を委ねた。耳元でささやき、きれいなノイズ。でもよく聞こえない。暖かくて柔らかくて優しくて甘美な感触。それは麻酔のようで、不思議なことに体の震えがゆっくりと収まっていく。彼女のかすかな鼻息が僕の頬をくすぐる。とても甘い匂い。ふと胸に圧迫感を覚えた。彼女の持っていた大きな剣が僕の胸の皮膚を裂き、肉をえぐり、骨の間を縫い、 ゆっくりと体の中に沈み込んできている。でも、彼女のキスという麻酔にかけられて、もう痛みを感じない。こんなにも優しく殺してくれるから。不意に切なくなって、涙が溢れそうになって、それをごまかすために、彼女の頭越しに雨を落とし続けている鈍色の空を見上げた。空が滲んでいるのは、雨のせい、涙のせい。もう、あの視線も感じない。もう、何もない。薄れゆく意識の中で、僕は空へと手を伸ばす。誰か、教えて。僕たちのあの空は、どこへ行ったんだろう。
Wow. I don't even know what to say. That was brutal. I'm gonna be honest, I know very little about this game other than like what was referenced in later games that I didn't fully understand at the time. That I think there was something about an earthquake. Maybe that's what that was. And then yeah, I don't know about the swords though. Jesus Christ. I was not expecting swords. I'm gonna be honest, that's the last thing I was expecting. Swords. Got some kind of angel of death too, which is it's always good, right? That's always a good sign. Okay. Yeah, something tells me this one's gonna be significantly darker in tone, which fair enough. You can't see a gaze. It can see you, but you can't see it. It's weird. For as long as I could remember, I'd often felt a gaze staring at me from somewhere. I would turn around and nobody would be there, but I'd be sure somebody was looking at me. I could feel this sensation, like something crawling on my neck. Was I just too self-conscious? Did I have some kind of phobia about being looked at? Up until elementary school, I honestly believed that it was God. God is watching me, I would say. I wrote an essay about something like that. Of course, looking back, I realize how silly it was. I was the biggest chew-knee dork, as I like... Oh god, I don't know the buttons, because this is a different... that's... Okay, that's pause. Is there like a... Not this button. This button. I don't want to accidentally press the skip button. That button. Nope, that's a quick save. Good to know. That's an auto. That's a backlog. Okay. I feel like that's gonna be the skip. Okay, I don't know. I guess I can do it from here. What is that like Chunibyo? Is that like short for that? Yeah, okay, it's the same thing. Chuni. That's cute. Gotcha. If somebody were to ever read that essay, I'd be so embarrassed. I'd never leave my house again. I still remember the thing's title. Whose eyes are those? Alright. The back of the chair I was resting in made a creaking sound, like the voice of an old woman.
僕を見るな。
I whispered those words as I looked up at the ceiling, feeling sick and annoyed. Of course, no one responded. This was my room. I lived alone. Nobody was here but me. Just for the hell of it, I turned around. The room was longer than it was wide, and it was a little dark. The only light in the room came from my computer's desk lights. Quite the environment. There were no windows, so of course it was dark. Since I had no way of looking outside, I had no way of knowing if it was night or day. I mean, he's got the figurines, he's got food, he's got a computer. I mean, do you need anything else in life? That's it. That's all you need. Ugh. I turned around toward a I turned toward a corner of the dark room and spoke to no one in particular.
僕の名前は西条匠。17歳。水明学園2年。
It's me,
と言
he's
っても
talking to me.
学校にはほとんど行ってないけど。まあそれでも勉強はできる方だよ。定期テストはちゃんと受けてる。しかもそれなりに上位の点数を取ってるからね。頭はいいんだ。
Of course, nothing happened when I said this. Nobody appeared out of the darkness. The dark space just existed, silently. But darkness stimulates the mind, makes it see delusions. Not being able to see whatever's there makes it an unknown. You know in your head what's impossible, but somewhere inside your heart, you imagine terrible things lurking within the darkness. Geez, whenever a scary delusion popped into my head, my mind always ran away with it. I kept talking to try and shake it out of my mind.
僕は現在アウェイじゃなかった。渋谷で一人暮らしをしてる。この紅会館ビルは父さんの経営するビル会社の管理下にあるんだけど、その屋上に設置されたコンテナハウスを格安で借りてるんだ。
House! It's a shipping container. Okay, that's... I was wondering, like, why is the room shaped like that? Oh, it's a shipping container. That's
街の環境は最悪。
Who am I kidding?
僕が住んでる
People
新船長は小さな坂が多いから疲れるし。
people have crazier
すぐ近
things
く
they
に
live
ラ
in.
ブホ街もあるし。
It's just bonkers.
ここが秋葉なら最高だったのに。ほんと渋谷ってひどい街だ。円数で言うとディーンズバレーくらいひどい。
I want to know what game he's playing. Is that an MMO or is that like some single player jam? I'm curious. Oh, here we go. It is an MMO. I knew it. ESO was the MMORPG that I had made my life's work. It's short for Empire Sweeper Online. I spent almost all day and almost all night playing the game, passing my time in the world of Basilard. Basilard or Baselard? I'm assuming it's Basilard. Baselard sounds dumb. Dean's Valley is an area in ESO with a lot of really aggravating monsters in it. They use all kinds of obnoxious status ailment attacks, but they don't even drop decent items. Oh wait, hold on. He's his name is Nightheart, Paladin, human, male, level 50, lots of money and EXP. Gotcha. Anybody who grinds there is an idiot. Good players give up on it quickly and head to the next area, the Forest of Leet. And obviously, I'm a good player.
というわけでドキュンと恋愛資本主義者が集まるこんな街は即刻滅ぶべきだね。
TQN? I feel like I've seen that before. I don't remember what it is though. Dokyun. A thug, bully, or someone who's part of the dregs of society. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I have heard that before.
でもこの部屋の住み心地はまあまあ我慢できるレベル。PC とネット環境は最高水準クラスが揃ってるからね。まあ学生にしては上等の基地じゃないかな。あ、だから僕はこの部屋のことをベースって呼んでる。
Of course, nothing in the room moved except for me. Talking to myself was starting to make me feel like an idiot, so I decided to stop introducing myself to whoever was watching me. Hi, it's me. He's talking to me. I feel so included.
それにしても汚い部屋だな。
It smelled moldy. The air was so stale and damp you could feel it on your skin. The floor was piled high with empty plastic drink bottles and trays left over from convenience store lunches. The bed was stacked with H games. Oh, good. He likes those too, huh? I always ended up having to sleep up on the sofa.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。って僕か。
It's very. All right, I already kind of love this guy. I like how he's very chivalrous. You know, he'll take the couch so that his bed is reserved for his 2D waifus. Very chivalrous, very honorable. My creepy laugh kind of annoyed me, so I kicked the plastic bottle at my feet. No, I love the laugh. It flew up, almost high enough to hit my figure shelf. I screamed and leaned forward, using my own body to block it. I've got almost 100 wives, big sisters, and daughters, and I can't let them get hurt. I love this guy. They keep me going, so they're very important to me. I cleaned and organized the shelf once a week. It was the only cleaning I ever did. Every day I tried to find new angles and positions to make them look cuter. I didn't want my beloved daughters and sisters getting dusty, so I always made sure to clean them. What a swell guy. I breathed a sigh of relief and tossed the bottle into the corner, then faced back toward my PC. The PC sat in a far corner of my room. Next to the monitor was a figure from my favorite anime, BT, or Bloodtoon the Animation. Seira-san, 1/8 scale, pre-awakening version. She smiled at me while posing cutely.
Seira, kawaii yo.
It's one hell of a weapon, though. Is that like a bat with freaking spikes on it? Just imagining, like, how would you use that? I mean, I think I know exactly how you'd use that, but it seems very very brutal for such an adorable magical girl. I assume she's a magical girl. I don't know. I whispered as Seira-san and I stared into each other's eyes for a minute. Then I gulped down the bottle of soda next to the computer. It was lukewarm, but that didn't bother me.
さてと、円すらないと。
I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of a weirdo. I like lukewarm soda. I don't like super cold soda. People think I'm weird for that, but I like room temperature soda. That's right, I'll say it. I sank down into the chair and put my hands on the keyboard. Just the act of sitting at the computer was enough to calm me. My ESO character, Nightheart, was a paladin. It's spelled differently on the computer. Already on his second reincarnation. He was level 50, the max, of course. He was also the highest ranked player on any active server. I don't know the mechanics of this game, so I don't know what reincarnation means in this context. Oops! Almost every player knew the name Lightning Fast Nightheart, and they all treated me like a god. Rare weapons, rare armor, rare magic, I had it all. I had 95% of all the rare items in the game. Not as many as I wanted, honestly. And I had more money points than I could ever... Money points? Than I could ever use in a lifetime. RMT, or real money trading, was how I made money to use in the real world. I had enough to survive for 6 months without having to get a part-time job. I was a master of the chat tool. That just... I need to like get good at conversation, and then when people are like, "Wow, you're a really good conversationalist," I'm a master of the chat tool. I used it for almost all of my communication. I'd even saved a life on @chan, a huge message board once. And I was always there whenever our festival was going down. Saved a life? Oh, right. He's giving a lot of information, but like rushing past a lot of stuff that I'm like, wait, no, elaborate, please. And I had way more than 100 friends on Frepara. That's a social network, it's like Facebook. If it is, I hate it. Respect, trust, it was all right here. I didn't go to school. It wasn't that I didn't want to go, just there was no point. I did all my studying on the internet, and obviously you can do that at home. Of course, you needed to attend a certain number of classes to graduate, so I went just enough to get the bare minimum passing grade. This was the smartest way for a student to live. My parents were pretty obnoxious about this stuff. So, I made myself a schedule for when I'd go to school. According to the sheet, all I had to do was go to school 2.5 times a week. The people who went every day called me a creepy otaku, but if you ask me, I'd tell you that they were morons for going just because someone told them they should. Anyway, my life here is not that bad. Oh crap, I got so distracted by that gaze, I forgot I was talking to Grim. Falling asleep online? Oh, what is it? It's common for heavy internet users to fall asleep right in front of their keyboard and stop responding to messages. I've never experienced that, but I believe you. Grim was the screen name of a guy who I always partied up with in ESO. What's wrong? You're not responding. Did you fall asleep? Hey, Nightheart. Yeah. I'd never met with him in real life, but we talked all the time online. He brought me a lot of valuable information. He was like my own personal informant, you could say. I sat down and began to type at the keyboard. Lol. I know what a lol is. Sorry, I didn't fall asleep, but I did kind of spaced out, lol. You must be really tired. You're not sleeping enough? Doing hentai stuff with your girlfriend? Lol. All day, all night. Oh my god. I'm not into 3D girls, lol. Grim and I would talk about all kinds of things. Since I couldn't see his face, it was easy to tell him anything. Of course, in the real world, that's not how it would go. You're a 2D man, then. H games. You're really in a hentai mood tonight, huh? You always have really perverted delusions, though, right? You used to always talk about them. You were really into them. Something about doing naughty things with a girl in a school swimsuit. Oh my god. Was I? I don't really remember. Anyway. If that's what you want to talk about, let's discuss something near to my heart. Oh my god. School swimsuit plus glasses. Let's just say, you're so cute, Sarah. I'll give you your what? Oh my god. What is happening? Yes, no? School swimsuit plus glasses. Like, am I into that? I mean, or do I think he's into that? I have no idea what's happening. I'm gonna go with... No. Glasses. Who needs glasses? Competition swimsuit. I don't understand. Better than school swimsuits. I'm very... yes. What is happening? Competition swimsuits are better than school swimsuits. I mean, sure. I guess I'll agree with that. Actually, I prefer competition swimsuits. Swim cap is a must. I mean, if we're talking, like, competitively, it makes more sense, but... Like, if we're talking aesthetics, I would say pass. I'll pass on aesthetic-wise. Swim caps are an absolute no-go. Not a chance in hell. Lol, come on, man. You really like swimsuits, huh? Alright. You want out? What man doesn't? I mean, really. It's not about just showing skin, you know. Oh god, what? Wait. Nope. Okay, I'm not. Oh my god, I can't. Already. Fully dressed girl with no panties is sexier than Pan Moro. Hold on. I saw that one. Didn't check that one. State where panties, pantsu, are fully visible. A more extreme form of panchira or a panty flash. Okay. Alright. I'm okay with either. What? Are you telling me you don't understand how hot no panties stuff is? I like my girls totally naked. Okay. This conversation is going places. You don't understand Moe at all. A complete and utter perv. That's our Nightheart. We fear him, but we love him too. We love him, lol. Calm down, man. I mean, maybe I did get a little excited. I try to be the cool, silent type. Cool, lol. Don't laugh. Anyway, what were we talking about before I fell asleep? I mean, I'm sure it was ESO stuff. You forgot? Come on, man. We were talking about the murders in the 3D world. The murders in the 3D world? What was he talking about? Shogun has entered the chat. Hello, Shogun. Sup? I said, but Shogun didn't reply. Was this asshole ignoring me? I was trying to be friendly here. Didn't he know who I was? Don't you know who I am? I was lightning fast Nightheart, damn it. This is supposed to be a no lurker channel anyway. Well, whatever. I decided to ignore him. That's the nice thing about the internet. You don't have to care about other people unless you want to. That's rule number one about the internet is you gotta learn when to just not participate. A lot of people think they gotta participate. You don't. You can just be like, and I'm out. And then you're done. That's it. The murders. So what were we talking about? Grim. The murders. I don't care about anything 3D. It's probably something stupid anyway, right? Yeah, I guess, but pretty shocking still. Shocking. Some kind of grisly serial killings or something? A lot of bad stuff has been happening lately. Had been happening lately. More Guro pictures? Oh, God. I sure hope not. Oh, right. You can't handle Guro, lol. I mean, I can handle it. No, I actually didn't want to see any of that stuff. But there were a lot of fakes and altered images going around lately, and trolls love to set all kinds of traps. You ended up seeing a lot of the stuff whether you wanted to or not.
まあ少しは目が慣れてきちゃってるのかも。
And to think you're the strongest paladin in Basilard. I don't PK, though. PK meant player killing. Yeah, unfortunately, I have watched SAO. I know what that is. It's when you attack a stranger and steal their equipment or money points. Only Dokuns do that. Dokuns were thugs and losers. The lowest form of life. Chew. What is chew? Aside from the Pika variety. Someone who acts or talks like a child. The chu comes from the word chugako, or middle school. Okay. I'm no chu. I don't do things that would make other people upset. That's, yeah. Fair. I never violate EOSO's rules. Good. That's my policy. I did a shit ton of RMT, though. What is RMT? Oh, right, real money trading. Yeah, I feel like developers typically don't like that. Like, that's not exactly smiled upon. Yeah, you're the hero we all love and adore, lol. Mochitsuke? Mid-2000s internet phrase meaning cool it, from the Japanese ochitsuke, meaning calm down. New generation. You know about it, right? Mm-hmm. New generation? What the hell was that? It wasn't something I already knew about, right? Grim seemed to act like I was supposed to know about it. What's new gen? The new generation madness. They call it new gen online for short. It's the weird serial murders going on in Shibuya right now. It's all happening right near your house, lol. Oh. Oh right, it was coming back to me. But I only knew the basic outline. I hadn't really looked into it. Oh my god, I love Deloodle. I freaking love Deloodle. I searched for new gen and got a hit immediately.
この1ヶ月の間に渋谷で発生した2つの事件のことをニュージェネと呼ぶ。その犠牲者は胎児を含めて7人。
Oh god. That's bricked up.
1つ目の事件は友人同士5人による高層ビルからの集団ダイブ。
Suicide.
2つ目の事件では男性の体内から胎児が出てきた。
Oh god. What?
これマジかよ。
That's horrifying. I felt a cold chill run down my spine. Yeah, I felt it too. I found myself turning around again and glancing around the dark room. Taboo News had a lot of old articles about New Gen, so I quickly skimmed them. Taboo. I recognize that one. Supposedly, the whole internet was talking about it, calling it the New Generation Madness. There were 2 incidents. One was a murder case that was so brutal that some TV stations weren't even willing to have their anchors describe it. And the first one, the group dive off a skyscraper, there were rumors that it might have been a rumor too. A murder. Sorry, I read that as there were rumors it might have been a rumor. That would be ridiculous, but believable. Rumors that it might have been a murder too. That makes more sense. The parents and friends of the deceased all said they weren't the type to commit suicide. There was no sign of a motive, and from a lot of other pieces of circumstantial evidence, it was supposedly impossible to believe that they were about to kill themselves. Took a quick look. Well, starting to shake and shiver. What? I missed what it even was. Shake and shiver. Yeah, terrified. Scary. Not really. Don't care. Here. Website. Look at this, lol. I'm not gonna say the lols anymore. It's bothering me. I hate saying the lols out loud. What is it? A picture of the corpse. He did this stuff sometimes. But if I let him get me, I'd lose my reputation as Nightheart. No matter what I was in the real world, in ESO I was a god. The strongest. I knew everything. I was stronger than anybody. I was a knight fighting for justice. Nobody was gonna make fun of me. I worked up my courage and clicked on the URL. Am I gonna be horrified? Like, I've always had a pretty... Screw you, Grim. I've always had a pretty, like, tough stomach when it comes to, like, gross stuff, but, like, you know, I don't like it. The hell was this picture? It's him. Is that a lemming? Is that a lemming from the game Lemmings? Is that what that's supposed to be? Isn't that what they look like? Hold on, now I gotta look that up. Make sure I'm not freaking crazy. I swear, they got the big old faces. Yes. Yes, I am correct. That is what they look like. Kind of. Moving on. You got me, I'm not saying lol anymore. You drew this. I don't know what that... I don't know how to pronounce that. Those Japanese characters. Oh, it's an emoji. Emoji that depicts a person waving their hand. Oh, I see. It's like a... Got it. Can be used to say bye, but also to raise your hand in agreement. Most people pronounce it no-shi after the reading of the Japanese letters used. Interesting. I whipped it up in 2 minutes just now. What a dick. You're our generation's Picasso. Anyway, that was fun, but I'm gonna sleep. Night. See you tomorrow in Basilard. Grim has left the room. And Shogun is still here. Oh, right, that Shogun guy was still here. I totally forgotten about him. Not that he mattered. I wasn't feeling that tired, so I decided to do some grinding in ESO. Oh wait, today was the day Bloodtoon aired. I didn't have a TV in my room. All I needed was a PC.
あと15分ぐらいか。その前にトイレでも行っておこうかな。
Oh yeah, where's his... He can't have a it's a storage container. Where's his bathroom? Does he, like, go out into the regular building? I looked at the figure of Saraton next to my monitor and grinned. I was going to get to see her today. I couldn't wait. Just as I went to close the chat window, though.
あれ?
Oh, boy. Don't click on it. It's a trap. Shogun had typed something.
なんだよこいつ急に。
I thought he was a lurker chew. From the file type, it looked like a link to an image, but... Someone I didn't know, and someone who'd never even talked to me, was suddenly sending me a link. I gulped, without even realizing I'd done so. Yeah, you don't click on those. That's not a good idea. Don't do it. If this guy's as smart as he seems to think he is, you don't click on that link. I didn't know why, but I felt a terrible premonition, one I'd never felt with any interaction online before. Of course, I didn't want to click it. I glanced over at the clock. There were only 12 minutes left until my date with Saraton. I needed to wrap this up fast. Yeah, just don't click it. Just leave the room. Komei's trap? What is that? Slang used by 2000 era Japanese otaku to refer to any type of clever trap. Komei is the Japanese name of Chinese strategist Zhuge Liang, who is known for his brilliant stratagems. The term is often seen in hacked video games, particularly ones of extreme difficulty. Okay. Interesting. What the heck kind of Chrome's trap is this? The world changes if you click it. Well, I wasn't convinced before, but he got me. We should click it. Lol, what? I tried to act like he wasn't scaring me. Honestly, I didn't even want to talk to this guy. He was making me nervous. I could feel myself sweating. Was this Shogun guy even Japanese? If he wasn't, there'd be no way I could talk to him. Sorry for scaring you. This... I just imagine this guy is like... dead-eyed, just like... Sorry for scaring you. He's talking normally. I felt a little relieved. Nah, it's cool, man. It's cool. Why were you lurking? Did somebody tell you to lurk for 6 months before you could type? I was thinking. Where are you from? For some reason, there was a strange pause. Shibuya. Oh, God. Shibuya. The articles I just read about the new generation incidents came racing back to my mind. Just envisioning them in my mind was bad enough. If I had seen them in reality, I don't think I could have handled it. A man's stomach ripped open. The body... Oh my god, I can barely stomach just describing this. The body of an unborn baby stuffed inside. Like I said, I usually have a pretty good stomach. I think that would challenge it. That is not a challenge, by the way, game. If you're listening to me, game, that is not a challenge. That is not me asking you to show that to me. Just when those five friends jumped off a building, they were probably just chunks of meat after they landed. Yeah, it's gravity. Just imagining it made me want to vomit. I quickly shook my head to get the images out of my mind. This Shogun guy was just so shady. It was making me delusional that when I didn't need to be. I wished he would just go away. Oh. Quick. Whatever that's supposed to be. I don't... I assume it's some kind of emoji. I don't get it. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm from Shibuya too. A lot of weird stuff's happening here lately, huh? It's not over. Shibuya shake and shiver. I don't... Again, I don't know what some of these... I think... Oh, I see. It's like a little, like... Oh... face. Oh, and the lines are... The parentheses are, like, shaking. Got it. And then... gibberish. What the heck? Was this Shogun guy just crazy? He seems pretty crazy. I'm really smart, and I'd never seen that formula before. Oh, it's a formula. I thought it was... I didn't get to that part in math. I got like 3 plus 5 is 8. I don't know what fun is. I think int is like integer. I don't know what LR2 is. Anyways. I decided to run a search for it. At times like these, it was great to have access to an internet connection.
あれヒットしないな
Was this guy just trying to pretend to be smart and writing out some nonsense formula? It didn't make any sense. This formula has murdered the possibilities of the world. I have no idea what that means. Same. Anyway, what was that link? Am I actually supposed to click on it? I thought you might be interested. Let me post it 700 times. What is happening right now? They're like sequential. Is it... It just keeps going. He typed in several URLs at blinding speed. That's not several. That's like 20. That's like... What was this guy's deal? Was he just entertaining himself by trying to scare me? Was he a buddy of Grimm's and they were having fun with me? I felt the gaze again and looked around the room. But of course, there was nothing there but a filthy dark room. The same as always. I felt a strange sense of terror. Feeling like you were constantly being watched kept you from ever truly relaxing.
僕を見るな
When I said the words, I could tell my voice was shaking. My old filthy room felt like something completely different now. They say that sometimes, after you watch a horror movie or TV show, or hear a friend tell you a scary story, even a place you know well, like your own house, will start to seem strange and terrifying, and you'll be too scared to even go to the bathroom alone at night. Right now, I was experiencing something just like that.
くそ釣られたりするもんか
Shaking, I leaned toward the monitor and... Don't click it! I suddenly felt my right hand index finger tense up as I clicked on one of Shogun's links. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you click that? Why would you ever click that? Why would you do that? Why? Oh. What? To be honest, I had no idea why I'd done that. It wasn't like my hand moved on its own or anything like that. It was as if I'd done it without thinking. That was the only way I could describe it. It felt like exactly the wrong thing to do, but still I found myself clicking it, as if the motion was completely natural.
なんだよこれ
Also, whatever the hell that was, I found myself staring at what seemed to be some kind of strange work of art. Something that looked like a porcupine or a pincushion, nailed to the wall in the shape of a cross, and beneath the porcupine or pincushion, or whatever the hell it was, there was a pool of something red and black. I wonder what it could be. There were also all these little piles of something that kind of looked like garbage. What the hell was this? The world of some self-proclaimed avant-garde artist? You know, one of those guys who'd make something disgusting and then say with a completely straight face, I wanted to give expression to the chaos of this world. That's how I imagine this guy talking. I'm not interested in that modern art crap, guys. It was strange, though. It wasn't really a Guro image. It looked Guro-ish, but that was as far as it went. So why? Why did it feel so real? Why did it feel like I was right there watching it happen? Could a hallucination make you smell blood so intensely that you wanted to throw up? Could a hallucination smell so strong you wanted to vomit? I started to feel a pain in my temples. The urge to vomit wouldn't go away. I tried to grab the mouse, but my hands were shaking too badly. My hands slipped off the desk and ended up grabbing the thing's cord instead. I moved it up the cord and put it back on top of the mouse pad, then closed the image. Yeah, don't click another one then. As I breathed a sigh of relief, I saw... Oh. Oh. I glared at the minimum necessary school schedule I'd created. I'd never gotten to see Bloodtoon in real time last night. Of course, I saw it when it was upped to Mewtwo, so it didn't matter. But I still didn't feel any better. The last thing Shogun had said before he left. It was like he knew how scared I was of God's gaze. It couldn't possibly be a coincidence. I tried to think of how he might know. Had my personal info leaked? Or was this somebody from ESO who was out to get me? A godlike player like me had lots of friends, but also lots of enemies. Well, most of those enemies were just haters, though. You know, guys who were just jealous of Nightheart's strength and charisma. It was best to just ignore them, I'd always found. No, that wasn't what was important right now. Even after I logged into ESO, I couldn't stop wondering who he was, to the point where I couldn't even concentrate on my grinding. And to make matters worse, today was... a school day. Was it a school day? It was, unfortunately, a day where I had to go to school. I didn't want to go, but if I didn't follow my schedule, it might come back to bite me later. I might even end up being held back. I did my best to stifle a yawn as I staggered down the road to school. At my walking speed, it would take about 10 minutes to get there. Once I started moving, I only felt worse. I felt exhausted. It was weirdly hard to breathe, and there was an awful sweat dripping from every pore in my body. This always happened whenever I went to school. Why did I have to go to school at all, when all it meant was suffering? I mumbled to myself as I stared down at the white lines on the asphalt, but I kept going. It's pretty much how I felt about school when I went to school. Sucked. My route took me through Shoto Park. Once I was through the park, the school was right there. As I walked by a lake, I could see an older couple out for a morning walk, and a salaryman sitting on a bench reading the sports section. For a park on the outskirts of a major downtown area like Shibuya, it was quiet. It was a perfect place to relax. I sat down on one of the benches. Every day I went to school, I would always sit here in the morning and eat my breakfast, surrounded by leaves that were gradually beginning to change color, and watch the placid surface of the lake. Breakfast was a pastry I bought at the local convenience store. This would keep me going until evening. I never ate lunch. Nobody wanted to eat with a creepy otaku like me, and I certainly didn't want to eat alone when everyone else was in a group. I washed down the cream-filled pastry with a can of soda and stared up at the sky. The sky above Shibuya was always kind of cloudy, and never totally clear. This was true no matter what season it was. My family's home was just a few stops away from Shibuya by train, but something made it feel like a whole different world. Oddly enough, the gray sky didn't bother me. I didn't know why, but it didn't. I looked at my watch to check the time. I needed to get going, or I'd be late. Being late was the one thing I absolutely couldn't do. If I wanted to go to school if I only wanted to go to school 2.5 times a week, then I needed to make sure I didn't stand out at all costs. I needed to be like the air we breathe, completely invisible. I needed to avoid the dukuns, the delinquents and thugs I hated more than anything, the teachers, and spend my day undisturbed, in peace and quiet. That was my goal for my school life. Sume Academy. Suime. Suime? Suime. That was the name of the school I attended. It wasn't a very old school. It had been built within the last 10 years. This meant the building was clean and new, and it was often used as a set for TV shows with a school theme. The uniforms had been designed by some famous designer, and a lot of the dumber girls had chosen this school specifically to wear them. Wow. That's very rude. It was, in theory, a college prep school, but the school's test scores were slightly above average at best. The school rules were really strict, but they were constantly telling prospective students about how much they respected student autonomy and independence. It was pretty funny how they tried to trick you. Huh. Well, I guess the rules were really there in name only. Nobody enforced them. So maybe they weren't trying to trick you after all. After all, even somebody like me who only went to school 2.5 times a week could still graduate. By the time I arrived at the school gate, there were enough students around me that it was starting to get noisy. I don't like crowds, so I kept my head down as I walked through the gate. In my mind, I was repeating, please nobody talk to me, over and over again. I had a sister a year younger than me who was also a student here. She would commute from home. Any day I ran into her was a disaster. Fortunately, I didn't see her today, and it made it safely to my classroom. I slunk into my seat without letting my eyes meet anybody else's. For a moment, I thought that some of the girls who were chatting near me looked my way, but it was just for an instant. They quickly returned to their conversation without saying a word. I knew they were all thinking that I was a weird, creepy loser. Mood. But if you ask me, you 3D girls are way creepier than I am. If you find me creepy, just don't look at me. Just pretend I'm not here. Just do that and I'll live my life without bothering any of you. If you dokuns decide to keep calling me creepy all the time instead, that's your problem, not mine. That's what I always say. I just can't understand it. Maybe you want attention from people you call creepy? Is that it? I stayed in my seat, staring down silently at the surface of my desk, trying not to move at all.
Yo, Taku.
Out of nowhere, somebody slapped me lightly on the back. I jerked and then looked up, annoyed.
お前、今日って学校来る日だっけ？三角くん。
It was Daisuke Misumi, my classmate. He was standing there with a friendly smile on his face. He was handsome, and supposedly, girls really liked him. He was also a self-proclaimed prodigy. Prodigy? I can read! God! Self-proclaimed playboy, who according to him, was always dating several girls at once. From my perspective, he was a man who'd completely given himself over to the dokun side. He wasn't somebody I wanted to do anything to do with, but...
相変わらず暗い顔してんな。ゲームのやりすぎで寝不足か？別に。
He was the one person in class who always tried to talk to me. He and I had nothing in common, either in terms of personality or hobbies, but for some reason he was always trying to talk to me. It had been this way ever since we became classmates at the start of the year, and I never managed to figure it out. If I was a girl, I could understand it, but why would he want to talk to a guy?
引きこもりだからしゃあねえかもしんねえけどよ。もっとこうハキハキ答えろって。
If I could, I would. Just talking to a 3D person was suffering. I got so nervous my voice wouldn't even come out right, and since I wasn't used to talking, I would always stammer. I'd get so scared of saying something stupid and being made fun of that I hated talking to anybody. You don't understand my pain. Don't tell me what to do. Oh, and I'm not a hikikomori either. A hikikomori is somebody who never leaves their room 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's not who I am.
女相手に緊張するならともかく、そういう態度されると俺らホモと思われるじゃねえか。
Sure. Was he lying about dating those girls and he was actually into men? I too was once in middle school. I pulled my body away from him, trying to put some distance between us. In doing so, I almost fell out of my chair, so I quickly grabbed my desk.
何してんだお前。
三角君はホモなの？
なわけねえだろ。お前俺の女好きを忘れたのか？
だよね。ビビった。
ちなみに
Misumi looked around to see who was nearby before suddenly lowering his voice. He gave me a mischievous grin.
昨日このクラスの女子で3人目を落とした。誰だか聞きたいか？
いいよ、別に。
だよ、もっと興味示せよ。田中だぜ、田中。
田中って誰？
お前もうすぐ10月だってのに未だに同じクラスのやつの顔を覚えてねえのか。ま、3次元に興味ないんじゃそれも当然か。
He sighed and shrugged his shoulders. The one thing I could say for him was this: he'd never insulted my hobby. That is, my love of 2D characters. He never called me creepy. It wasn't his thing, but he never said anything about it. In that respect, maybe he wasn't such a bad guy after all. Maybe that was why when he talked to me, I actually tried to talk back.
これでうちのクラスの可愛い女はほぼ攻略完了だ。そろそろ隣のクラスに守備範囲広げようかって思ってんだよ。
Maybe he was a bad guy after all. At least that's what the girls would think if they heard him. That's what I think when I'm hearing him.
めったに学校来ねえけどすごくいい女がいるらしいんだよ。なんかそういうの燃えねえか。あ、お前の場合は燃えるんじゃなくて燃えだっけか。
Don't use that word. Don't use that word. You don't have the right to use that word. You don't even know what it means.
ま、お前の興味ねえ話はそろそろやめるか。じゃあよ、ニュージェネの話知ってるだろ。
To be honest, I was really surprised to hear that from him. I thought he was the only interested in chasing skirts. I couldn't imagine him looking at a newspaper or reading the news.
集団ダイブの事件さ。あれも噂によると殺人らしいぜ。
へえ。
マジだって書いてあったんだよ、スポ島に。
Wait, Sports Tokyo was a source? Who could believe a thing written in that paper? And anyway, I already knew that. And also, I didn't care.
で、聞いて驚け。その殺人鬼が女で、しかもかなり美人だって目撃証言があんだよ。
女。
As I looked at the excitement on Misumi's face, I finally understood it. So that's what compelled him to actually pick up a newspaper. It was a girl. It only made sense, I thought to myself. Wait, did that mean he was okay with dating a murderer so long as they were cute? I could see myself going for that if it was a 2D girl, but... Misumi was looking out the window and off into the distant sky. He looked like he was on the cusp of achieving some great enlightenment.
どんなやつなんだろうな、犯人って。本当に美人なのかな。会ってみて。
This was a man who'd made all his decisions with his little head. Little head. I was sure of this now.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよな。だってほら、俺ってかっこいいだろ。いくら連続殺人鬼でも俺みたいないい男に会ったらコロッと惚れちゃうぜ。
Oh boy. And then she wouldn't kill him, he thought. Man, talk about an optimist. I found myself feeling scared of how confident he looked.
僕は興味ないから。
What a weirdo.
でもよ、興味ないっつったって犯人は絶 ってこの辺うろうろしてんだぞ。どっかですれ違ってたりするかもしんねえし。
Maybe Misumi was the killer. No, that was probably impossible. But I couldn't rule out the possibility that the killer was somebody from the school. If that turned out to be the case, maybe I could come up with something about how I'd gotten PTSD and be able to graduate without having to go to school.
なあ、今日俺と一緒に殺人現
What
場
an
見に行かね
opportunist.
ここから歩いて行けんだってよ。まだ血とか残ってるらしいぞ。
Why would he want to do that? I didn't feel interested in the slightest. My goal for today was to get through my classes without any trouble, go home to Seratan, and then go back inside the world where I was God.
もう小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
本当に興味ないんだ。
What? I hated to disappoint Misumi when he was so excited, but I had no intention of going, what is this? What is this madness? What is this circle?
そして、
Oh, God. I opened my mouth to speak out some excuse, but he wasn't listening.
たら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に戻ってくるってよく言うだろ。んで、次はタクがターゲットにされるんだ。死をもって罪を償いみたいな。罪状はそうだな。
What is happening? Why is there a circle of a circle? What? Which button was that? No, that was... Why? Why death? What is happening? Green? What is the Christmas lights? What's happening? Okay. And it's gone. I don't understand. I tried to protest, but I worried that he might hate me or try to bully me and just gulp down my words. I bit my lip and looked away from him. I found myself looking around the room and saw something written on the blackboard. I'm really lost. I feel like that was that them trying to tell me something? Was I supposed to glean something from that? I don't understand. At first, I didn't really care what it was. All I noticed was that there was some writing there. But the more I looked, the more something seemed wrong. Finally, I leaned out of my chair.
ちょっとどいて。
おい、どうしたんだよ。
Oh dear. I pushed past Misumi and walked to the blackboard. When I saw the words written there, I felt like my heart was strangling itself in my chest. Whose eyes are those? The words I always silently said to myself whenever I felt the gaze of God. I'd never told them to anyone else. There was no one to tell them to. Not even Misumi. Nobody in this class could possibly know that I'd said that phrase all the time. Why? Who? For what reason? I spun around and looked around the classroom. Only Misumi was paying any attention to me. Everyone else was talking to themselves, or reading manga they weren't supposed to have at school, or sleeping at their desks. Who? Who wrote this? When did they do it? Was that already on the blackboard when I'd come in? I couldn't remember. Usually, I didn't pay any attention to what was on the blackboard.
なあ、どうしたんだ。
Misumi walked up to me and grabbed me by the shoulders to shake me.
聞いてる？おーい、ターク。
It didn't matter who written them. It was just a coincidence. People use those words all the time. Definitely. Super coincidental. It was just some stupid scribbling. Yeah, just some stupid scribbling. Mm-hmm. Yep. How's that copium taste? I tried to tell myself that, but I was still really scared. I never did figure out who'd written them. I wanted to go around the class and ask, but I didn't have the courage. Before long, homeroom began. The teacher came in and asked, who wrote this on the blackboard? He sounded annoyed and erased them. Shame no one fessed up. He could have found out. It was really creepy, but I decided I was going to force myself to behave normally. If I let myself seem scared, I'd just be admitting the message had something to do with me. And it didn't, okay? It was just a coincidence. Yep. I keep telling myself that over and over until it was time for me to go to a net cafe after school, just like I'd planned to do. The cafe's name was At Cafe. Genius. It was the one place I liked going. It was along Center Street in Shibuya. There were a lot of loser salarymen and Dokyun 3D girls here, but you got your own personal room, so it didn't matter. The room I was in, room 37, was kind of like my personal spot. It was the one furthest back in the cafe. It sucked when you wanted to get when you wanted to go get some of the free soda, but it was relatively quiet because not many people came by. I would always come here once or twice a week on my way home from school, so that I could log into ESO under a different ID. It was my way of relaxing. Nightheart was too well known, you see. I enjoyed being famous, but having to be the hero everyone looked up to all the time was stressful. That's why I like to play with a different avatar sometimes. So he's got an alt, also max level it looks like. This character was a girl. Her name was Liz-a-Lot. Liz-a-Lot didn't really have many big accomplishments to her name though. Whenever I played as her, I made sure other characters got the glory. I'm gonna be honest, I like this guy. I like the way he rolls. I worked out some stress by playing for 3 hours, just grinding, never really doing any hard content. Then I talked about dumb stuff, and some naughty stuff with the rest of my guild. By the time I left the cafe, it was almost 9 p.m. Center Street at this hour was filled with Dokyuns. They would sit on the sidewalk like they owned the place, eating fast food and laughing in their disgusting voices. It made me want to vomit. A lot of things make this guy want to vomit. If you made eye contact with them, they'd get mad and attack you. They were barbarians. No, they weren't even human. They were worse than that. They were animals. They didn't have a shred of common social decency or intelligence. I wish they would all just die. Jesus Christ. I meant it too. It wasn't something I was just saying. Also, animals have social common decency. Like, there are many animals that have a social hierarchy. Like, just as complex as humans. Just saying. But you know, just dealing with them was a waste of time. And I wasn't the kind of guy to waste time. So I quickly left Center Street. Something tells me he's gonna come across the murder scene just through coincidence. Maybe, I don't know. After leaving At Cafe, I would always stop at either the nearby Mangadarake, or the Animate that was a little further away. Today, I decided to go to Animate and headed for the station's south entrance. There were far fewer Dokyuns here. Really, Center Street was pure chaos. Just walking through there made it hard to breathe. If I could have, I would have rather never gone there at all. I wish they'd just tear the whole place down, leaving only At Cafe and Mangadarake. I don't know. Anyway, it was time to look at some manga and doujinshi. Oh, and Bloodtoon's 5th DVD was probably about to go up for pre-order. All right. Hell yeah. At some point, I found myself on a narrow street in Maruyamacho. Maruyamacho. This was the route I used on my way back to the base from Animate. I keep wanting to say Anime Light. It's not. It's Animate. I forced myself to blink several times. Then I took a look inside my bag. I took a look inside my bag. There were a few textbooks along with a portable game system. I hadn't bought anything at Animate today. Usually, I always made sure to buy at least one thing. I sighed and started to walk. From here, it was less than 15 minutes to the base. I assume the base is what he calls his home, his little cubicle. Storage unit. You didn't have to get that far from the station for all the lights and neon to disappear, along with most of the people. At most, you saw middle-aged couples heading for the hotels, or salarymen heading to their homes nearby. It was quiet and calm. It was hard to believe that this was the same Shibuya as Center Street, with its hordes of dokuns. It was cloudy tonight, and the moon was hidden. The street seemed even darker than usual.
まただ。
I knew the route well, with its filthy, dark street. But today, it felt strange, like I'd wandered into another world. Everything looked the same as always, but it felt like I was coming here for the first time. Also, there's a ringing noise. I can't tell if that's if I have tetanus or if that's a not tetanus, tinnitus. What is that? Is that in the game? I guess. Yes, it is in the game. And there was this odd smell like rotting garbage. I could feel the humidity clinging to my skin. If I hadn't known better, I would have assumed that it had just rained. The air felt sticky. Is this the murder scene? What did I mean again? I felt a sense of Jamaivu? I've never... Is it the same as deja vu? Is it a different type of deja vu? Jamaivu. Deja vu, is it the same thing? Slash, so I guess it's the same thing. I've never heard it said Jamaivu. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that properly. Probably not. Damn it. I was getting reality and my delusions mixed up. That was what the psychologists on TV said would happen if you played too many video games. Either way, it felt like I was coming here for the first time. And that wasn't all. I felt a prickling on the back of my neck, a feeling like somebody was looking down at me. I wasn't imagining it. No matter how fast I tried to walk, the gaze kept following me. Somebody was watching me right now. Their gaze was so powerful I could physically feel it. I wanted to look back, but I decided not to. Also, that ringing is getting really annoying. This was a game I sometimes played with myself. Whenever I heard a small sound or felt like somebody was watching me, I'd play the I'm not turning around that easy game. If I turned around, I lost. Usually, whenever I felt the gaze, I had delusions about ghosts or monsters with incredibly scary faces. Yet throughout all 17 years of my life, I'd never turned around and actually seen something there. I'd kind of started to enjoy this game, since I knew I was probably safe. I'd listen for a moment, then raise an eyebrow in suspicion, then I'd say a line from a manga. It wasn't that I wasn't too scared to turn around, okay?
貴様、見ているな。その目誰の目？なんちゃって。
I tried to desperately remind myself that I wasn't scared, but the next thing I knew, I'd stopped walking. I could feel the tension in the air change slightly. My face was damp with sweat, and my knees were threatening to buckle. I gave in and turned around. I lost the game, but of course there was nobody there, not even a passing car. Why did everything feel so strange all of a sudden? The ringing in my ears had stopped. Okay, he heard that too, apparently. I only noticed after the sound stopped. Until that moment, there'd been a sound like a ringing in my ears. I had noticed it right away. But I hadn't been aware of it at all. Now, I couldn't hear anything. It was suddenly dead silent, far too silent for the middle of a city. It felt like any sound would be crystal clear. I closed my eyes tight to listen. Something terrifying's gonna be there when you open it. Nope. I couldn't hear anything. This was weird. This was weird, right? Usually, you could hear the sounds of distant trains, car horns, faint noises like that. So why? Were my ears broken? I wanted to scream as loud as I could. I felt like if I didn't, I'd go crazy. But I couldn't. It was so quiet, and it felt like if I broke the silence, something terrible would happen. Suddenly, a single sound shattered the silent world. Oh dear. I looked around and saw many shiny things lying on the dark ground. They were scattered all over the asphalt.
十字架?
The moment I realized what they were, my legs unfroze and began to move forward. I picked one of them up. It was metal, and its long tip was sharp like a needle. stake? A nail? It was strangely shaped, so I'd mistaken it for a cross. I gripped the stake, dazed. I could hear it, a faint sound of some kind, echoing. A cold sound, one that would make your blood turn to ice. It would start, then stop, then start again. My legs kept moving forward. I walked on, as if drawn to the source of the sound. Was it just a desire to see something scary? Maybe I wanted somebody to save me? To rescue me by plucking me out of this world of silence? It was like something from an old German fairy tale. Which one was it again? Oh right, the Pied Piper of Hamelin, where the piper leads over 100 children on a march with the sound of a flute. The sound kept going. It was an awful sound, like something hitting something else. As I walked on, it kept getting closer. It was coming from the back of the narrow alley on the left. Once I rounded the corner, I'd see what it was. It's not going to be pleasant. I can tell you that much. For some reason, I didn't think to turn around. The very idea of turning around never occurred to me. It was like I wasn't in control of my own body. I walked around the corner and saw, in the darkness, brilliant red. Sir, are you all right? I don't think he's all right. The first thing I thought was that I'd seen something like it before. Also, that it didn't look real at all. Maybe a few screws broke loose in my mind, and my senses had just become numb. In normal conditions, I would have screamed, fallen back on my butt, and peed myself right then and there. It was something that looked like a porcupine, or maybe a pincushion. Countless stakes were nailed into the wall. As I stared at it, I realized that the red blood was pouring out from beneath the stakes. The brilliant red I'd seen was a pool of blood. Faint light from the street lamps outside the alley just barely reached in, making the red glisten. There were also all these little glistening piles of something. They looked like hunks of meat. I imagine they were hunks of meat. I tried to swallow, but my throat was parched dry. There wasn't a single drop of saliva in my mouth. I want to know what's going on with the head. Like, it looks like his head, like, there's one in his mouth, and, like, the top half of his head is, like, gone. What is going on here? Like, what's going on with the face? I realized the thing nailed to the wall by those stakes, it's a human body. Like, for sure. Oh. It was a human corpse. This was so far removed from my everyday life. So brutal, so overwhelming. And the one who had done it, the one who'd pounded all these stakes into the raw concrete, was a single young girl. How could I tell? Because she's right there. Because she was literally, yes. Because she was standing right in front of the corpse, holding stakes in her blood-stained hand. Her back was turned, so I couldn't tell what the look on her face was. But the uniform she was wearing, it was Suime's. The awful smell, like raw, rotting garbage, clung to my nostrils even more firmly. Every few seconds, I felt like I was about to throw up. I put my hand over my mouth so I wouldn't vomit. And then I finally realized where the sense of deja vu I'd been having came from.
あの時の将軍のリンク写真
I didn't realize I'd spoken out loud until it was too late. This would prove to be a fatal mistake. Literally fatal or figuratively fatal? I saw the girl's shoulders twitch as she heard my voice. Then she slowly turned around. Hello? Nice to meet you. Her gaze pierced me. Her eyes were so flat and empty. She had killed him. She looked at me with startled, wide eyes. Her expression then shifted to something that combined a smile with tears. And then...
よかった。
She whispered. Glad? Glad about what? Why would anybody be glad about anything right now? It didn't make sense. It was so bizarre that I felt a cold chill run down my spine and quickly looked away. It suddenly occurred to me that I didn't want to get involved in anything weird. I think we passed that point. I think it's a little too late for that, my dude. I couldn't talk to real girls anyway. Also, she was a murderer. Look how that was his first thought. I was like, I can't talk to girls. Also, she killed that man. The cops were on their way. I was hungry too. Yeah, his priorities are clearly in order. Yeah, time to go home. Time to leave. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Suddenly, she said my name. I hadn't introduced myself. I'd never even seen her before.
あなたに会いたかった。
Her lips curled upward into a terrible grin, like a demon's. Bear! I screamed, and as I screamed, I ran. I kept yelling until my throat hurt, running as fast as I could. Just once, I looked back, but she wasn't following me. Welcome home! I was out of breath. I could hear the sound of my own panting. I was sitting in front of my computer monitor. My whole body was soaked with sweat, and my clothes were too. Is this, just out of curiosity, it's a storage unit, so like, you can't like lock the door, right? Like, if she was chasing him and wanted to kill him, I feel like he's toast. This ain't offering him any protection. What did I just see? Was that a delusion of mine? I still felt like I was about to throw up, so I went to the fridge, got a soda, and gulped it down. It was a really realistic delusion, if I did say so myself, but way too gory. I was even still out of breath. If it was just a delusion, how could I be out of breath? That was impossible. I felt something strange in my right hand. I was holding it so tightly that my fingers had turned white. Till that moment, I hadn't even realized it. Do you keep one of the crosses, one of the little stakes? My heart pounding, I slowly relaxed my grip and opened my palm. Yeah. It was a single stake. Scared, I flung it at the wall. It was the stake from the delusion. I remembered picking up one of the ones lying on the ground. But why? Wasn't that a delusion? Did we just establish it wasn't? Dude. Don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's impossible. 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 I began to wander around the room, clutching my head in my hands. I needed to figure out if what I'd just seen was a delusion or reality. But before I could, I slipped on one of the CD cases on the floor and lost my balance. I reached out, trying to grab something so I wouldn't fall. But the only thing in reach was the shelf where all my wives resided. No! By the time I realized what had happened, it was too late. It couldn't hold my weight, and I ended up falling back onto the floor, as figure after figure poured down on me. Ugh, damn it. This was just awful. Everything was just awful. I moaned, then started to see if my figures were okay. Oh, shit. That's not good. If it had broken clean in two. I bought that thing in an online auction and had to pay a whole bunch for it. I tried to put the sword back together, but even gluing it together wouldn't really fix it. It was worthless now. I kicked my chair in anger, then I started to cry. Why did this have to happen to me? What did I do? I sat down and glumly stared at my now swordless Ignis. When the anger and confusion had passed, I turned my mind toward the girl's face and the strange sight I'd seen. The fact that I was holding the stake meant that the murder was real, not a delusion. I didn't want to admit it, but I had no choice. By tomorrow, the media would be in an uproar. I wanted nothing to do with it, nothing at all. If I got involved with her, no, it wasn't a her, it was some kind of monster. I'd be done for. I was already pretty close to screwed anyway. I'd taken a murder weapon home with me. The police might even think I was the killer. And that demon saw my face. There was no escaping this now. Next, she'd come after me. I needed to think, for my own sake. I needed to think so I could get out of this alive. Oh.
間違いない。
These like notes. He's making notes.
あの写真は事件の予告メッセージみたいなものだったんだ。
There was no other explanation for how it happened, just like in the photos. First, the girl put together fake photos on the computer, simulating exactly how the murder would happen. That was her way of making the murder. No, I bet she'd want me to call it a work of art instead of a murder. Psychopaths like her always thought that way. That was her way of making sure it was perfect.
頭がおかしいよ。でもどうしてそれを僕に。そもそもあの女はナイトハルトが僕だってどうやって知った。僕の名前をどうやって知った。
What was I supposed to do? She'd be coming for me before long. She knew my name and my email, so she probably knew my address too. I pulled my legs up onto the chair and crossed my hands over my knees, then buried my head between them. The murder I'd seen yesterday was sheer madness. Just the thought of it happening to me.
死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。死にたくない。
Oh. Oh.
大丈夫。
Theru's laying in front of my PC monitor, smiling at me.
タッキー、あなたは
Oh
この
my
部屋に
god,
引きこもってればいいんだよ。
I
したらあの悪魔だって手出しできないっしょ。
there's too much to process right now.
そのうちに警察がうまく捕まえてくれるって。それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。悪魔ってさ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断すんのはノー。できるっしょ、タッキー。
でもセーラ。
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし、三次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。あなたには一切関係ないことだって思えば気が楽っしょ。関係ないこと考えたって無駄無駄さ。いいこと教えてあげる。引きこもりって最強なんよ。だって誰にも会わないっしょ。つまり誰にも攻撃されない。これぞ最強の自己防衛方法なわけさ。だからタッキーは引きこもりになるべきなんさ。簡単っしょ。
I like how Taki keeps changing. It's the spelling is changing. Am I crazy, or is Taki 2Ks? Now it's Tacky. I don't know if that was on purpose or probably not. That's very funny to me though. That's why she was my wife after all. She was really smart. And super real. I leaned forward and gently grasped Saratan's thin waist. Even when my face got close to hers, Saratan didn't seem upset at all. She just kept smiling, almost as if she was made of plastic.
ありがとうセーラ。おかげで勇気が出てきた。そうだよ。三次元なんてクソくらいだ。あの悪魔だって僕みたいなキモオタのことなんて気にも留めてないさ。僕は安全だ。安心して毎日演奏したり好きなアニメを見てれば何の問題もないんだ。
でもさっき言ったみたく油断は禁物だぞ。
うん、分かってるよ。
Don't believe in anybody. Don't listen to anything anyone says. Beware of anything 3D. That was all I had to do, and I'd be safe.
セーラにそこまで心配してもらえて僕は幸せだな。さてと、それじゃ気分直しにエンスロット。
Oh boy. Oh.
ンクロスライアンクロス約束は今ライアンクロスライアンクロス果たされるからライアンクロスライアンクロス解き放たれたライアンクロスライアンクロス週末
Whew, I'm gonna be honest, that voice gave me chills. That was very pretty. A clear voice echoed across Miyashita Park in the depth of the night. On top of the pedestrian bridge over Meiji Street, as the cars came and went below, the girl they call FES leaned up against the bridge safety rail, seemingly oblivious to the noise below.
月夜の光が示された従者よ
She had no audience. If she'd done a real street performance, she probably would have had at least 100 people stopping to listen. But for now, FES had chosen instead to hide herself behind the veil of night. Is it Fess or FES? I'm gonna say FES. It makes more sense, but it could be Fess.
幻の道
All she had to do was stand here in the silence. Then she could be one with the darkness, and for a moment, at least, freed from the filthy air of Shibuya. And that's how it seemed to her anyway.
叫びはいつしか沈黙に変わって
Suddenly, she looked up at the night sky. Is that... Hold on, is that literally just my goofy-ass screen? Yes. There's, like... It's not on the captures, but, like, there is a... Like, line... like a weird curved line of just, like... Random pixels that... Is just like through, and it looks so intentional, but it's just my weird TV for some reason. Hold on, let's see if can I like, will it even show up on the, it's like, oh god, this was a mistake. Yeah, that's like in the middle of the screen, there's like that, oh god. Wait, hold on. Oh, people vomit. There. That's not there on the middle one, on the capture version. That's just on my screen. All right, boy, that was totally worth it, wasn't it? So glad I did that for no reason. Just wanted people to know what I was talking about. Oh god, now I need to get this pointed the right way. It's close enough. Whoops. That was the worst decision I've ever made in my life. The clouds that had covered it were slowly parting, and a faint ray of moonlight trickled through. But the bright, dazzling lights of Shibuya were hiding the hesitant twinkling of the stars.
落ちてゆく安息風に手と手をつないで
FES closed her mouth and reached up toward the sky.
その目誰の目
She said the thing. She also knows the thing. I spent the entirety of the next 24 hours in Basilard. I didn't even quit to eat. I dedicated myself fully to erasing Takumi Nishijo and being Nightheart. In ESO, I was a god. I didn't need to be scared of any demons. Everyone respected me. I always thought about how nice it would be if I could spend forever in this wonderful world. Oh.
おおエンジェルハイロ来た来 これ超レアすげえ
Yeah. I swear, if at some point on, like, in the game, some text shows up that says, whose eyes are those? That's gonna be so great. He's gonna lose his mind. There's no way that doesn't happen, right? At some point, he's gonna be, like, escaping into this world, and then that text is gonna show up in-game.
おおキャラの見た目変わったすげえこれすげえちょ見て見て見ろってグリ
You're
ム
knocking.
あ
Oh, cool.
ナイトハルト自重しろうっせえ死ねよ負け組
Is this Gidgey? Cut it the hell out. My haircut.
ちょっと街に戻って見せびらかしてこようかな
Does he not hear the knocking?
鬼
I'd finally gotten one of the ultra rare drops I wanted, and was incredibly excited. All the depression I'd been feeling had just blown away.
鬼ってば
To the sister. An Angel Halo had a drop rate of 0.0001%.
おーい
It was completely useless and just changed the way your character looked. But this also meant that everybody could see that you had an Angel Halo, and they would all be really jealous. That's MMO economies in a nutshell. I feel like that.
やった ナイトハルト
I couldn't have said it better myself.
こら
Oh my god.
開けろ
Maybe it does lock. Shut up. Who's that pounding on the door anyway? I'm enjoying my new rare item. Don't interrupt me.
バカ鬼
Yeah. That voice. The minute I heard it, my good mood vanished. It was an assassin sent by my parents, my little sister Nanami. This was going to be a pain in the butt.
開けないとひどいんだからね
Damn it. Storm was about to roll in. I didn't want to open the door at all, but if I kept it shut, my parents would be the next ones to come. They'd tell me to stop living by myself and come home. Oops. My dad was pretty much the owner of this building. If he wanted to kick me out, he could. This just wasn't fair.
鬼
Shut up! Don't yell so loud. She was still banging on the outside of the door. The walls of a shipping container are a single piece of metal, so any sound echoes really loudly. She knew that and was doing it anyways. I unlocked the padlock on the inside and opened the doors outward. I had no other choice.
あやっと出てきた生存確認
Survival good. So the whole point was just, are you still alive? All right, you're still alive. See you later. This tiny shrimp of a girl was my little sister. She was 1 year younger than me.
呼んでるんだか
Don't look that
ら
little.
返事くらいしてよね鬼死んじゃったかもって思ったじゃん
Maybe it's just scale. Every time I saw her, she was complaining about something. As you could tell from that way she was standing with her hands on her hips and pouting. She was a little brat. That description could not be any different than what we are visually seeing right now. With her hands on her hips and pouting. Yep, yep, that's exactly what she's doing. And if you asked me, she was nothing more than a huge nuisance.
うわ相変わらず部屋の中汚ちょっとは片付けなよ
Nanami walked right into my room without even bothering to ask if it was okay. She thought she could do whatever she wanted just because she was my little sister. To those of you out there who think little sisters are moe, I have a message for you. Face reality. Damn. Well, I guess she was kind of cute. If you were into... God, if you were a lolly fan, she might totally be your type. But as her real brother, I didn't feel that way about her. At all. If anything, she seemed like a little baby to me. Oh, but I don't mind... Oh my god. I don't mind lolly characters. Just they have to be 2D.
カ びっくさ。お兄の部屋って相変わらず不潔。掃除しろっていつも言ってるじゃん。どうしてしないの？まあどうせ掃除してくれる彼女なんかいないだろうし、お兄ってズボラだからこうなるのは目に見えてるけどさ。こうなったらやっぱりナナが掃除しに来てあげるしかないかな。
だが断る。
なんでよ。
お前に部屋荒らされたくない。
きっとそれがわざわざ生存確認しに来てあげてる妹に言うセリフ？
Well, you're not showing your older brother any respect, are you? Nobody asked you to see if I was alive anyway.
まったく、なんでこんな面倒ばっかりかけさせる兄弟と血つながってるんだろう。たまに嫌になっちゃうよ。はあ、なんか喉乾いちゃった。飲み物もらうね。
Nanami walked to the back of the room and opened the fridge, again, without even bothering to ask. Okay, Christmas lights. We got the red, we got the green. It means something. There's something here. All right, I'm gonna see if I can Google it without getting hit with any spoilers. Cause I'm gonna Google. Let me get. Forgot I Googled lemmings. Chaos. Ed. Noah. How would I even describe this? Circle. Red. I'm gonna say red green. That's my red green show, my favorite. Delusion trigger system. It's a system. I really hope I don't get hit with any spoilers. I really hope that. Oh god, what is that? I'm not looking at the ads. Ignore the ads. I'm getting distracted. At certain specific points in the game, red and green dots will appear at the top of the game window. That's not exactly what's happening. Are there red and green dots at the top? I mean, I can make the screen red and green. Maybe not. I mean, maybe it's different in the original one. This is the ignoring these dots. Okay, now starting to talk about endings. Ignoring that. Okay, so I guess good. They're delusions. I can trigger delusions, so I can ignore it and be reality, or I can make it. I guess this is good, and this is bad. I don't. I guess seems that way. I like good, although, you know what? Let's go dark. I want to see how this ends poorly. I want to see what, like, evil things, I don't know, like, something twisted. I hope it's something incredibly twisted. Yeah. Oh god, I wish it wouldn't make that noise. So I assume I leave it red until it gets to the point where something goes wrong, right? And the same with the green. Because last one I guess I ended it on neutral, so nothing happened. Okay. I want the red. Give me the bad. As usual, she seemed to have no intention of asking for her brother's permission. She grabbed a bottle of soda, one that I'd already drank from, out of the fridge. She hesitated for a moment before swallowing it down. Oh god. Alright. What the hell did Nanami think she was anyway? I hope you get sick from drinking too much soda and end up in the hospital. Then I won't have to worry about anybody interrupting my peaceful life. Sigh. I wish, I don't know why I said sigh, whatever. I wish that really would happen. Is she gonna get, like, start coughing or something? What was that? Egyptian hieroglyphs? Whoa, the world is wiggling. Suddenly, Nanami started to moan. The plastic bottle slipped out of her hand, spilling soda on the floor. It splattered on the CDs and manga magazines lying there. I was about to tell her not to mess up my room, but then I gasped. She was holding her neck in pain, and her eyes had flared wide open. Her mouth was gaping open and closed like a fish. I guess this is exactly what I asked for. Oh god, now I feel bad.
Nanami.
Am I feeling regret right now? I think that, oh god. She spat up blood. It was red, dark red, almost black. It landed on the coal on the floor, mixing in with it. Alright, maybe go with the good ones from now on. That's Jesus. I guess that's what I signed up for, right? Then she collapsed to the ground, right on top of the mess. Her whole body began to spasm in pain. Her hands were ripping into her neck as she tried to dig her nails into the skin. She flailed her legs as she rolled around on the floor, oblivious to the fact that I could see her panties. Is that really to focus right now? This wasn't a nice thing to think at all, but she seemed to me like a fish on a cutting board. I didn't know what to do at all, so I just covered my ears. But I could still hear my little sister's dying screams. God. Eventually, she stopped moving, her face covered in drool and blood and tears.
Nanami.
I called out her name, afraid. There was no answer. She was lying on the floor in a terrible state. I could smell something like ammonia. Was it Nanami who'd pissed herself? Or was it me? I slowly moved my hand forward to poke her shoulder. She didn't move at all. The very thought of doing it creeped me out, but I moved my head closer to her mouth. She wasn't breathing. She was dead. Nanami was dead. It was a poisoning, like you see on TV. It was then that I understood. I'd put poison in the soda to kill Nanami. That had to be it.
なぜ殺した?
Good question. Yeah, why'd you do that?
うえ。
You. I knew it was my own delusion, but it still creeped me out. This one went way too far. Nanami might have been annoying, but I didn't need to have her die in such a realistic way. I could have at least settled for giving her the full Bako? Full Bako? Excuse me? You never go full Bako. Short for full power Bako Boko. Ass kicking. A violent, brutal, one-sided assault. Ah, I'm glad, well, glad he would have preferred that to what just happened. Good lord. Yeah, I think I'll probably lean toward the positive ones from now on. That was dumb.
どうしたの?
Nanami finished drinking her soda and looked at me in confusion.
なんか顔色悪いけど?
Nothing, I was just imagining you dying savagely and brutally, choking on your own blood. Moving on. I shook my head slightly.
ごめん。
何が?
とにかくごめん。
I'm sorry for doing weird things to you, even if it was just in my delusions. I'm really sorry. But it just goes to show how much frustration toward you is building up inside me. I want you to understand that.
別に謝らなくてもいいのに。ミルクティーがないくらいでナナ怒んないよ。それになんだかんだ言ってコーラも好きだし。
Wait, she drank my whole bottle of soda? I take it back. There was no need to apologize to Nanami. She should commit seppuku and die.
もう帰れよ。
You confirmed that I was still alive. You should be done now, right? Why do you have to come into my room all the time?
兄、冷たい。
Nanami seemed annoyed at my words. She was glaring at me with a frown. I didn't want to deal with it, so I just looked away.
せっかく心配して様子を見に来てあげてるのに、お兄ってずっとここに引きこもって誰とも喋らずに一日を終えちゃうことだってあるんでしょ。女の子と話す機会だってどうせ全くないんだよね。
Shut up! Don't make fun of me. Not interested in 3D girls. I don't need to talk to them.
言ってみればお兄と話す女の子はナナだけってことじゃん。だからさ、
Not by choice,
もっと
apparently.
ナナのこと大事にしてよ。そしたら女の子との接し方もちょっとは分かってくるはずだし。
As she spoke, she picked up one of my figures, Hikaru-tan, from Suicide toward the light. She stared at it. Is my... Hey, don't touch one of my wives. If you get a fingerprint on her, I'm seriously gonna kick your butt.
あとお兄は自分のことにもっと気を使って。こんなお人形さんにうつつを抜かしてる場合じゃないよ。ナナはお兄の死体の第一発見者になんかなりたくないからね。
What was my little sister trying to say? She was starting to sound like mom lately. What I meant by that was... She was annoying!
いいから帰れよ。
そんなに帰れ帰れ言わないでよ、お兄のバカ。まだこっちには用事が残ってるの。
I mean, he would stop telling you to leave if you'd leave. Pro tip. Ugh, she was starting to get hysterical. If I made her any madder, she might go berserk. I had to stay calm.
携帯買いに行こう。
は
What was she talking about?
お父さんがそうしろって。お兄が携帯持てばいつでも生存確認できるじゃん。お金はナナが預かってきたから今から買いに行こうよ。今時携帯持ってない人なんていないよ。時代に取り残されちゃうよ。
Shut up, trend follower. I know a lot more. I know a lot more about what's popular than you do. I've got the internet, you know. Okay, maybe most kids my age had a phone, but I didn't. There was no reason why I would want one. I had nobody to call or text, and I didn't want to spend money on something that I wasn't going to use.
だから行こう。
Nanami put the figure back on the shelf and peered up at me.
どうせお兄は機種とかわかんないだろうからナナと同じ機種にしちゃいなよ。
She took her phone out of her bag and waved it in my face.
ほらこれがナナの色が可愛いでしょ。ついでだか
Ah,
ら
yes. Piss
ストラ
yellow.
ップも同じのあげるよ。
My favorite color.
うわ、なんという手抜きキャラ。
Hanging from the strap was a small figurine of a character that was, well, whatever it was. It certainly wasn't cute. It looked like something created by a rookie designer with no talent at all. It wasn't cute, or even creepy cute. It was just creepy.
手抜きじゃない
I
の。
think it's cute.
ゲロカエルンはこういうデザインなの。
Arrow frog.
今すっごく流行ってるんだからね。はあ、女子高生の流行なんてお兄が知ってるわけないか。そういうとこを直せば少しは女子と会話成立すると思うよ、きっと。
Quiet, girl. What the hell kind of name is Garrow Froggy? There's no way this thing is popular. The poor girl didn't realize she was being manipulated by the media.
っていうか今はゲロ
Wake
カエ
up,
ルン
sheeple!
の話じゃなくて。いいから携帯買いに行こうよ。あ、別にお揃いがいいとか言ってるわけじゃないからね。家族で同じ機種だと基本料金が割引されるサービスがあるからだよ。家族で持ってないのはお兄だけなんだからね。
いらない。
なんで？お金はお父さんが出してくれるんだよ。
必要ない。
It would just be a nuisance. If I had a phone, Mom would probably call every day. And if I didn't pick up, she'd send her pet assassin, Nanami, here to check on me. In other words, it would just be a nuisance. One that would make my life a lot harder. I didn't want that at all.
もう信じらんないよ、このバカ鬼。もう帰る。
ああ、 そうしてくれ。
Damn. I opened the door for her to go, but she didn't move. She just glared at me, shoulders heaving with rage.
ほんとバカ。アホバカ鬼。駅まで送ってくれるとかしてよ。
嫌だね。
I'd never walked her to the station all the time she'd come here before. Why would I start now?
だって最近殺人事件とかで物騒じゃんか。こういう場合心配するのが兄弟ってもんでしょ。
For a moment, what happened yesterday felt like it was going to come flooding back to me. I shook my head desperately, trying to drive the thought out of my mind.
どうでもいいし。
Whoever the new gen killer was, they weren't going to be interested in a little kid like Nanami.
ありえない。
That's what they all say.
花が死んでもいいって言うんだ。
I mean, he did just fantasize about it, although I guess that was on me, sorry. She was crying. I must have really made her sad. It felt great. That's what you get for disrupting my peaceful life. This would be my little way of getting revenge. That's what you get. Wow.
バカ、死んじゃえ。お兄なんか猟奇的に殺されちゃえ。
What a incredibly loving family this is. She knocked me aside and ran out the door. Just feel the care and compassion between them. Whew. At last the storm was over. The room was quiet now that she was gone. It was much nicer. The base was my home. Nothing was allowed to happen here unless I wanted it to. Except everything that just happened. I sat down at the computer and moved the mouse a little to wake it up from my Sarah 10 screensaver. Then I took a big swig from the soda bottle on the table. But it was empty.
しまった。これ、ナナミがさっき飲んだやつだ。
Yeah. She drank all your poison. I mean soda. Ugh, oh no. I just had an indirect kiss with my little sister. Jesus Christ. Ugh. If Nanami was a little sweeter, it might have been great. Like something out of an H game. But with her personality, it just made me feel sick. I'm starting to feel a little sick myself, you know. We could get off this topic, please. I closed the cap on the bottle and threw it into the big garbage bag in the corner of the room. It missed and bounced off the wall, rolling under the bed. But whatever. Now then, time to get back to ESO. Time to forget all the annoying stuff that happened in the real world. Who needs that 3D plane? But sadly, I was forced to bring my time into Basilard to an end after just a single day. When I left the base early in the morning, my mental state was back in the dumps, and any improvement that I'd felt from my time in the game was gone. Why did I have to go to school?
なんで今日なんだよ。最低最悪だ。
But I couldn't stay home. If I stayed home, it would ruin my whole attendance schedule. Then I wouldn't be able to graduate.
卒業って。何を卒業するって言うんだよ。
It was my idea, but still, I couldn't help but complain. When I got to the luxury residences at Shoto, I suddenly realized I'd been feeling someone looking at me this whole time. But it wasn't God's gaze. There wasn't that weird feeling on my neck. Okay. As I turned the corner, I took a quick look behind me without turning around, and I caught a glimpse of the girl in a Suimei uniform. Was it the demon from 2 days ago? Suddenly, my heart started to pound. I was so nervous that I started to walk funny. I started to feel like I no longer belonged in the quiet morning around me. I kind of looked like his sister, but it wasn't a clear view before she whipped behind the wall. I could hear the sound of birds chirping on the power lines, and the faint sound of the morning news from the televisions inside the houses around me. This didn't feel like a place where any kind of murder could happen, and yet I felt like I was about to have delusions of myself being brutally killed. No, I needed to calm down. I hadn't gotten a clear look at their face, had I? And if they were a Suimei student, it was only natural that they'd be following me. They were headed to school, just like I was. That's a good point, except for the fact that they clearly ducked and hid as soon as you turned around. That's not normal behavior. Okay, I had an idea. Instead of following the path that led straight towards school, I made a right instead. I fought down the urge to turn around and tried to act as naturally as possible. I kept walking, trying to contain my nervousness, and after a minute, I quietly turned around. Okay, it definitely wasn't the sister, and it also was not the demon. The demon had pink hair. Our eyes almost met, and I quickly turned my head forward again. Why was she following me? This wasn't the way to school. Was she actually tailing me? It was a face I didn't recognize. The one thing I could tell for sure, though, was that it wasn't the demon from the other day. This girl had glasses. I didn't even see the glasses. I just saw that her hair wasn't pink. Just knowing that alone made me feel much more relieved. I decided I should just head straight to school. I'd have to cancel my usual morning breakfast, but I didn't have a choice. Girl A. To me, you're just pedestrian 1 or girl A. No more important than that. So go away. Girl A stopped tailing me and disappeared when I got to the school entrance. She seemed to have somewhere else to go, since she headed for the third-year student classrooms. Maybe I was just imagining her tailing me, but it didn't make sense that she'd follow me down a route that led away from the school. Was she just trying to upset me? Had I done something to make her mad? No, I hadn't. There was no way I could. At this school, I was as invisible as the air. So what was she after? I somehow made it through an awful day at school, and as always, stopped at Cafe on my way home. Of course, I sat in room 37. Usually, the rooms around me were empty, but surprisingly enough, there was somebody in room 36 today. The door to the room was closed. I could see the desk light was turned on inside. I sighed a little as I went into my own room. Having someone next door made it hard to chat. I was the kind of person who always said things out loud when he chatted. Well, whatever. Time to just log into ESO. I just have to be careful not to say anything. Well, mission failed immediately. I slammed my palm down on the keyboard, annoyed. I'd been playing for about 2 hours now. Today was just a stressful day. The pair I'd grouped up with were clearly new players. As always, I stayed in the background, trying to let them have the glory for themselves. But one would always run in ahead of us and die, and then do it again. The other, a mage, refused to use any magic to help us. Our party must have died a dozen times. And then on top of that, all they did was complain and chat. Freaking idiots. I got so mad I PK'd them, took all their items, and then quickly escaped to another area. Wow! That escalated quickly. Nightheart couldn't do that stuff, but Lizelot could. That was why I came all the way to At Cafe to log in. Wow, how dishonorable. I felt a little better, so I decided to take a break and go get something to drink. At Cafe had free drinks and a well-stocked soda fountain near the counter. The one problem with room 37 was that it was pretty far from the bar. When I left the room, I saw that the door to room 36 was open. I had to go by it if I was going to go get to the soda fountain. I took a quick peek inside as I walked by, and nobody was there. Actually, I realized that I'd heard the sound of somebody getting up a moment ago. But there was a bag sitting next to the chair in the room. It was a student's bag. Decorative straps hung from it, stuffed animals dangling at their ends. Also, I see a couple of Garo froggies. There's a green one, and a red one, and a yellow one. They were Garo Froggy, the thing Nanami had showed me yesterday. 3 of them, too. Maybe it really was popular. Not that I cared. If I kept staring at it and they came back, they might think I was a stalker or a thief. I decided to forget about it and go get my soda. But when I saw what was showing on their monitor, my eyes went wide. Oh god. Is it one of those I thought maybe it was like a picture of one of the murders. The monitor was displaying the words New Gen Aggregator Site. It was in a really nasty looking, attention grabbing font too. New Gen. I'd been deliberately avoiding looking up anything about it. I didn't want to know the details. That was how I was telling myself that it had nothing to do with me. Anyway, was there a reason the person who just happened to be in the room next to me at a net cafe was looking at a New Gen Aggregator site? I mean, to be fair, that's pretty... I feel like that it's gonna be on a lot of people's minds, so I could see that being a pretty reasonable coincidence. For a moment, I saw the demon girl's face again, and my whole body shivered. I shook my head to drive away the negative thoughts. I was overthinking it. Yeah, I was just being paranoid. New Gen was the media's favorite subject right now, and not a day went by when the TV talk shows weren't discussing it. Everybody was interested in it. That was the only reason. Yeah, it had to be. Time to forget about it and go get my soda. I put my cup under the dispenser and pushed the button for soda. Ice-cold soda came down right into the cup. The sun was setting and it was starting to get crowded. I could see a small line of people waiting at the register. As it got later, more and more people were going to come. In an hour or so, all the rooms around 37 would be full. That would probably be my cue to go home. I took my cup and went back to my seat. As I walked back, I took a quick glance down the corridor that led to the restrooms. Oh, hello. I saw a girl with glasses and a Suimei uniform disappearing down the end of the hall. It was Girl A, the one who had been following me this morning. I thought I must have been mistaken, so I hid behind a bookshelf and watched the corridor for a while, but I never saw her again. I must have been imagining it, right? Yeah, I'd only seen her for a second. And there were probably a ton of Suimei girls who used this cafe, a lot of whom probably wore glasses. But what if it was Girl A? What was she doing here? Is it just a coincidence, or had she followed me? I started to feel scared. I left the cafe and hurried back to the base. I'd gotten too scared to stay. I wanted to go home as fast as possible, but the streets were crowded with people and I couldn't move forward as fast as I wanted. I was starting to feel sick. I hated crowds. It felt like everyone was laughing at me. The crosswalk turned red, so I had to stop. I took a quick look around. There was no sign of Girl A. As I headed up toward Dogenzaka Hill, walking got a lot easier. Usually I chose to take the back streets where there weren't as many people. Considering what happened. But after what happened 2 days ago, I decided to take the main streets instead. I came to another red light and looked around again, but there was no sign of Girl A. Maybe the person I'd seen at Act Cafe was someone else after all. I relaxed a little, relieved, and turned around. Oh, hello. Oh boy. Alright, I learned my lesson. I want the good one. I want the one that isn't someone dying violently. I took a step back in shock. There, on the other side of the crosswalk, standing with the other pedestrians waiting to cross, was the girl. And her eyes, behind her glasses, were locked dead onto me. Her eyes were intense, as if she was trying to send some kind of message. I mean, I guess not picking one is also an option, but I feel like I don't know. It's more fun to pick one, you know? Good or bad. Yay or nay. The light changed. Girl A started to walk alongside the other pedestrians. She was heading toward me. I couldn't move, so I just stood there in shock. Oh. She was still staring at me, and getting closer and closer. And she stopped right in front of me. Run, my mind said. But my body refused to move. It felt like my mind had left my body entirely. She slowly put her hand inside her jacket, as if wanting to be sure I saw every movement. And then she took something out from inside her from her inside pocket. A knife? A gun? Maybe a stun gun? Maybe I'd just seen too many TV shows, but all kinds of terrible ideas came to me.
これ
She whispered. Her gaze was unwavering from behind her glasses. Her eyes were fixed firmly onto my own.
落としましたよ。
What she showed me was a student notebook.
さっきのネットカフェで拾いました。追いつくことができてよかった。
She looks so angry, considering this is a fairly positive interaction. I took it without really thinking about whether I should or not. When I opened it, it had my photo and name on the inside. It was my student notebook, alright?
西条匠くんって言うんですね。
Her expression suddenly softened.
すいません。勝手に中身を見ちゃって。私も同じ学校なんです。よろしく。
The tension left my body. Was I just being paranoid the whole time?
ところで西条くんは付き合ってる人いますか？
いません。
本当ですか？じゃあよかったら私と。
Oh, that's funny. Yes, yes, yes! I was about to get a girlfriend. My Ryaju life was here. What in God's name is this? Otaku slang for someone whose real life, RAA, is fulfilling. Jujitsu. And fun. Ryaju will have a girlfriend, lots of friends, and perhaps be on a sports team. That's hilarious. Also, that face is terrifying. That's the face of like, I get like what this is like overly attached anime girlfriend that's not really a girlfriend. That's scary. She's scary. Nope, just kidding, didn't happen. And you've been standing in the middle of the road the whole time. I came back to my senses. The crosswalk light was still red, not blue. Girl A wasn't in front of me. She was on the other side of the street. Was that just a delusion of mine? What gave it away? This time, the light changed for real. The crowd began to move. Also, he described it as blue. That's definitely green, right? Like, I'm not crazy. I'm not, like, colorblind, right? Still red, not blue. Does it have a blue? That's green. I couldn't move. Girl A didn't move. We stared at each other. It was as if time had stopped for the two of us, and no one else. Why wasn't she moving? Why was she just standing there? It didn't make sense. It was weird. I shouldn't get involved. I needed to run. I needed to run while I could. Run! Run! I forced my timid brain into action and ran as fast as I could. I ran in the opposite direction from her, ran down a side street, and down a side street I saw. Watch it be the exact same side street with the murdered, crucified man. I collided with something and fell on the ground, hard, hitting my shoulder. I gasped in agony and as pain raced through my whole body. I couldn't tell what had happened. It was all I could do to sit up. Uh-oh. Knocked over somebody's bike. When I looked, I saw there was a large scooter in the middle of the street that I'd knocked over. I must have collided with it. I gritted my teeth and tried to force myself to stand up, but I couldn't feel any strength in my legs. I didn't think anything was broken, but... Did he get hit by a bike? I assumed like he ran into like a parked bike, but like, did he straight up get hit by a bike? Oh! Girl A was there. She must have caught up to me at some point. She was looking down on me, worried.
No.
Please don't kill me. What the hell was going on? Who was this woman? My body wouldn't move. I was too scared. I didn't know what to do. It was too late now, but I regretted not taking the train to Shinsen. Her voice was timid and hesitant. Was she trying to act worried to get me to let my guard down? You're not gonna fool me. I won't let any 3D girls fool me. My heart belongs to Sarah and Sarah alone. I yelled at her. I still couldn't stand up, so I crawled away from her. If I didn't put some distance between us, I was afraid she might pull a knife on me. That terrible sight came back to me again and again, and I kept feeling like it was going to happen to me too. She seemed hurt.
あなたが急に走り出して様子を見に来たら倒れてたので心配で。でも今は用事とかあるわけじゃないんですが、
That's a normal thing people say. Yeah, don't worry, it's nothing personal. I just, think that you were gonna murder me. Nothing personal at all. You don't have anything to talk to me about. What does that mean? Like, exactly. Like, that's not something people
なんで
say.
つきまとってくるんだ。
それは、
She was stammering. It was really suspicious.
私、楠木優愛って言います。
I hadn't asked, but she introduced herself anyway.
実は、あなたのこと、一目見て、なんとなく存在が気になって、それで、つい。
So you started stalking me? The girl, Yua, was staring at the ground as she talked.
ごめんなさい。
She bowed. Impossible. That was my honest reaction. Now that I got a clear look at her, this Yua girl was pretty cute. I'll admit that. You know, for 3D. But that doesn't mean I could believe it. A 3D girl interested in me? What kind of H-game scenario was that? That had never happened in my entire life. It sounded to me like an obvious lie. Did she think this would make me happy? Especially when she's been acting like a stalker a moment ago? Maybe if she was 2D, it might work. But a 3D girl like that was just a weirdo. Scary. I felt really embarrassed just being here too. I wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. 3D girls were just the worst. Even talking to one made you nervous.
僕は三次元に興味はないよ。
She's like, what the hell does that even mean?
いや、め
I tried to say something harsh, but I hesitated. But I knew if I didn't say it, she'd keep stalking me. I didn't want that.
迷惑だよ。つきまとわないでよ。
すいません。
I feel bad now. I mean, she literally was stalking him, but also... I don't know who I guess I'm gonna stay on the side of, Mr. Nightheart. She looked sad. Did she really feel bad about it, maybe? No, I couldn't let her fool me. I couldn't believe in any 3D person. I only believed in 2D, nothing else. I could trust Seiratan a lot more than I could trust her.
もうついてこないでね。僕帰るから。
I do feel bad for her a little bit, though. She seemed very hurt by that. I forced myself to stand up as I stammered out the words. My whole body still hurt, especially my shoulder. I could barely move it, and every so often I'd feel a dull ache from it. The pain was making me a little dizzy. I might have hit my head a little when I landed. Yeah, this feels... the way he's describing it sounds a lot like I felt when I the one time I did technically get hit by a car. So yeah, I'm starting to think that bike was moving when it hit him. I staggered for a moment, and Yua quickly grabbed my hand.
怪我してるんですね。手貸します。
And let you find out where I live? No way. It was all I could do not to turn to look at her. I knew my face was bright red. If she saw it, she'd definitely make fun of me. I knocked her hand away violently so I could turn away from her. My mind was going blank. I almost never had a chance to touch a girl who wasn't a family member. I could feel my heartbeat quickening.
お家まで送ります。あなたが怪我したのは、私がつきまとっちゃったせいですから。だから、送らせてください。
I appreciated her offer. I wasn't used to having anybody be nice to me, and I felt like I might actually fall in love with this 3D girl I'd hated just a moment ago. That escalated quickly. Buy dinner first. Like, go on a date. Just at least one. My brain just shut down. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. But that didn't mean I had the courage to look straight at her. And anyway, she was a stalker. She might have something to do with that demon girl too. And I didn't want to die. So many different thoughts were racing through my head that I didn't know what I felt anymore.
お家どこですか？
深セン。
深セン？
I nodded, and then realized what I'd done. Why the hell did I tell her that? What was I expecting to happen? This was just a delusion anyway. I don't think this one's a delusion. Or even if it wasn't, I would only be happy for a while before it all got ruined at the last second. That's how it always goes. That's how it always worked out in anime, right? I could feel the death flags popping up by the second. Crap, 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 crap. Now she was up against me, trying to help me walk. I could feel her soft body up against mine. Her hair smelled good. Impossible. No 3D girl would ever be this nice to me.
歩けますか?
I nodded again.
じゃあ行きましょう.
She sounded nervous, and she was watching my feet as we slowly walked. At this point, I didn't feel like I could refuse or shake her off. Helplessly, I let her tiny body support me as we went. Neither I nor Yua said a word until we got to the building where the base was at. There was no way I could have a real conversation with a girl. Even if I talked about anime or games or figures, a 3D girl would never try to understand. She'd just tell me I was creepy. Because no girl is into anything like that ever. It's impossible. And from my perspective, there was no point in talking to a worthless girls like that. God damn.
ここでもういいから。
I whispered, and then watched to see how she reacted. She nodded slightly and then let go of me. I still staggered a little.
やっぱりお部屋までついていきましょうか.
I ignored her and headed for the building's lobby. I say lobby, but it was really just a narrow hallway leading to some elevators. There was a small staircase, and when I tried to go up it, I felt an incredible pain that almost knocked me over.
大丈夫ですか?
She ran over and grabbed me. Damn it, was she still here?
やっぱり部屋まで送ります。絶対送りますから。
For some reason, she seemed really desperate. To be honest, she'd been a big help in getting me this far. My base was on the roof, and to get there, you had to take the elevator to the 8th floor, and then go up a steep staircase. I couldn't have done it on my own. Yua didn't look that strong, but she'd done everything she could to help me get up. She'd been supporting me for so long that she was out of breath.
こんなところに住んでるんですね。
She looked at the shipping container in shock. I guess to most people, living in a shipping container was really weird.
なんか憧れます。
え？
アウトローな感じがしていいですよね。こういうのって。
I certainly wasn't expecting her to say that. Was she trying to suck up to me? You can't fool me. I'm not letting 3D girls fool me. With her help, I unlocked the padlock and went inside. She'd be like, I love that moldy smell. Glorious. Whew, I was finally home. What another awful day. I resolved again to never leave my room if I could help it.
真っ暗ですね。電気のスイッチはどこに?
It's a shipping container. She'd think it has, like... I mean, I guess there could be a lamp. She'd come right inside my room without bothering to ask. Well, I guess it was because she'd been helping me walk with this whole time. But still, I didn't really want her seeing the inside of my room. There was a whole shelf of figures and H-game boxes on the bed, and garbage all over the floor.
もういいから。話して。
I waited for her to remove her hand, but she didn't.
床すごく散らかって。じゃなくて、歩きにくいと思うんですけど、絶対危ないです。ソファーまで行きましょう。そこで話しますから。
In the end, I did as she told me. There were CDs and magazines all over the sofa, but she cleared a spot for me to sit down. She was really kind and considerate. Wait, I wasn't gonna let her fool me. Not a chance.
平気ですか?
It was just me and her inside the room. The door was still open, and a little bit of moonlight was coming through it, but the room was mostly pitch black. It was too dark to read the expression on her face, but the fact that I couldn't see her made the sound of Yua's breathing seem almost seductive somehow. I realized that this was the first time I'd let a girl besides my sister into my room. and she was also someone I barely even knew. If this was a game, it would mean she was totally into me. Maybe there'd be a situation where things would keep going, and I'd end up kissing her. But that wasn't what I was expecting. Reality was always cruel. It wasn't like 2D, and this girl wasn't normal either. She was a stalker. How long was she going to keep standing there anyway? Now that she'd seen me home, shouldn't she be going? Then I realized, was she waiting for me to get alone? Was she waiting to get me alone so she could do something horrible to me?
明かりのスイッチは
Here comes the knife. Again, it's a shipping container.
えっと
Is there a
パソ
lamp?
コンの
No,
パ
it's
ソコン
computer. That makes sense. The only light in this room was the desk light next to the computer. I tried to tell her that, but I couldn't.
そうか。あのデスクライトですね。
うん
She carefully dodged around the garbage on the floor as she walked to the computer desk and turned on the light. Ugh. The room was finally freed from the darkness. When it was dark, the fact that I couldn't see made me imagine all kinds of different delusions, but being able to see her wasn't much better. I felt twice as embarrassed as before. I fell dead silent and quickly turned my face down. Her sudden gasp startled me. I looked and saw she was looking at the figure of Saratan next to my computer monitor.
これってグラチューのセイラちゃんですよね。
She knows? Impossible!
知ってるの
はい。ブラチューは大好きで毎週見てます。
へえ
セイラちゃんがお好きなんですね。私もヒロインの中では彼女が一番好きなんですよ。衣装も可愛いですし。
There was a note of happiness in her voice. She seemed like she was telling the truth. That was surprising. Was you a...
不女子あうん
She was just an anime fan, I guess.
あれ、フィギュアって言うんですよね。ちょっと見せてもらってもいいですか？あ、すみません。ずうずうしいこと言っちゃって。もう帰った方がいいですよね。
She started to bow apologetically.
見ていいよ
I didn't mind it when somebody complimented my wife. I guess I could be a little nice to her.
本当ですか？ありがとうございます。
She picked up Sarah and began to examine her.
それは山陽堂版の覚醒前バージョンなんだセーラフィギュアはいくつか種類が出てるけど最初に出たやつ
へえ。
あんまりクオリティは高くないよ顔とか微妙に崩れてるしポーズも平凡すぎてあんまりエロくないしでも服の胸元部分をキャストオフできるのは今のところそれだけなんだ
Boy, he's really pushing it. Hold on, what is cast off? Popular feature found in female anime figures that started to appear around 2006, where parts such as clothes were made to be easily removable. Of course they were! This enabled purchasers to strip their figures naked, or in some cases, close to that. Wonderful.
胸元？
ちなみに僕はセーラフィギュアは4種類全部揃えてるよそっちの棚に制服バージョンとメイドバージョンあと水着バージョンがある
そんなに種類がすごいですね。
一番評価が高いのはメイドバージョンなんだけど個人的には水着バージョンも悪くないよ
It's become quite the chatterbox.
見てみたいですね。でもちょっと暗くて。
もうすぐアルファから待望の覚醒後バージョンが出るんだけどこれはかなりクオリティ高そうなんだキャストオフも胸元だけじゃなくてほぼ全身可能だっていうし表情もポーズも質感も言うことなしだねあとはカラーさえバッチリなら今年発売されたフィギュアの中でも MVP 候補だよ
アルファ？
メーカーだよフィギュアの
なるほど。
Suddenly, I gasped. I realized that I'd talked way too much. And about an anime figures, too. I also had the feeling I'd said all kinds of really embarrassing things about taking off clothes or sexy poses, too. All these things are true. I wanted to see what the expression on her face was, but I didn't have the courage. She was probably looking at me like I was a piece of human garbage. My heart was pounding fast as I tried to look away. When she said my name, I turned to face her before I'd realized what I'd done. And she said she didn't say your name. What? The look of disgust and contempt I expected. It wasn't there.
さっき言っていた戦闘バージョンとかメイドバージョンも見せてもらっていいですか？
うん。そっちの棚に。
I didn't know how to react. She was smiling and looking like she was having a great time.
わあ、すごいですね。こんなにたくさん。
As she stared at the shelf of figures, her eyes were smiling brightly. I couldn't believe that a 3D girl could look at these and not be freaked out. Was the world a bigger place than I thought it was?
メイドセーラちゃんってこれですね。ふむふむ。アニメの印象とはちょっと違うけど、すごく可愛いです。下着までちゃんと作り込んであるんだ。こういうの実物で見たのは初めてですけど、いいですね。私も買ってみようかな。
だったら覚醒後バージョンを予約した方がいいよ。あれは絶対おすすめだから。
そうですね。あなたの話を聞いていたら、その覚醒後バージョンは本気で欲しくなりました。覚醒後って12話のあのシーンのことですよね。
よく知ってますな、お主。かなりのマニアですな。
はい、好きですから。特にあの時の覚醒シーンは毎日録画したものを見返してます。
あのシーンって演出と作画宮地なんだ。だからクオリティ高くて当然。
宮地？
そういう神クリエイターがいるんだ。あの人の演出はマジで神だよ。アットちゃんの実況版でも神来たってなるし。
そうなんですか。すごく知識が豊富なんですね。私、スタッフが誰かなんてまるで気にしてませんでした。
監督と演出と脚本はチェックしとくといいよ。特に新作なんかはそれを調べるだけで内容の良し悪しが大体予測できるし。
わかりました。今度からそうしてみますね。
She was still smiling at me with her pretty smile. A girl smiling at me. I thought that only happened in H games, but now it was happening to me. But whenever 3D girls, especially my little sister, were smiling at me, it's because they were making fun of me. She was up to something. I knew it. I couldn't forget Saritan's words. You know, the words she totally said, out loud with her mouth. Don't believe anybody. Don't listen to anything anyone says. Clearly she was warning you about this deceiver.
こんなこと聞いていいかどうかわからないんですけど。
何?
She started to fidget a little. She was looking down at the ground and avoiding looking me in the eye.
聞かせてもらってもいいでしょうか。あなたのお名前。
So, okay. This line up here. He literally said, when he was like avoiding looking at her, because he was like, she's gonna look like me like I'm a freaking weirdo. When she said my name, I turned to face her before I'd realized what I'd done. She didn't even know his name. I don't understand. Did I miss something? Am I crazy?
名前?
Okay, I'm gonna move on. This is very confusing. I realized that she'd introduced herself, but I hadn't.
西條匠.
Suddenly, I felt embarrassed. The words came out quiet and soft.
西條匠くんですね。何年生
？2年。
私は3年。私の方が年上さんですね。
I can't. You know, this is so wholesome. I definitely don't want to ruin it with a bad one. She like has a heart attack or some shit. She falls and impales herself on the railing. But then I feel like this also, I guess we'll go with the green one, right? I feel like that's also gonna make it like goofy and weird, but we'll go with it. Oh no, that moe pose was enough to almost make me pass out. Was Yua's moe type quiet older girl? She was trying to seduce me. She was dangerous. She was definitely up to something.
それで西条くんにお願いがあるんです。
A request? Don't tell me. It's gonna be weird. The delusion one is gonna be weird. Oh god, she's making the creepy face.
あなたのことが好きなんです。ずっと西条くんのこと見てました。
Figured it'd be something like this.
もう見てるだけじゃ嫌なんです。
Her face was now bright red. For some reason, as she talked, she started to take off her jacket. Oh, is it gonna get weirder? Oh boy. I may have made a horrible mistake. Or did I? She glanced at me and smiled, then began to take off her skirt as well. I could catch tiny glimpses of her panties from beneath her blouse. They were all black. She got a lot of points for managing to look embarrassed while doing something so bold, but my brain was having trouble keeping up with these sudden developments. All I could do was watch in awe. She put her hand toward the buttons on her blouse. Starting from the top, she began to undo them one by one. Oh god, is this allowed? Am I allowed to... Can I keep going? I feel like I'm breaking something. Breaking some kind of rules. Oh, it's a swimsuit. Okay, that's not as awkward as I thought it would be. It's still weird. And then slowly, teasingly, she dropped her blouse to the floor. For some reason, she was wearing underneath it a competition swimsuit. Those questions at the beginning. I wonder if she'd be wearing a swim cap if I had said yes to swim cap. Oh yeah, those questions came back around. It's Chekhov's swimsuit. Hold on. Skin tight, high cut, crease. What I thought was black panties was actually a competition swimsuit. Yua looked like a quiet girl, but she actually had really big boobs. I think we knew that. Also, oh, good job on not taking the socks off. I assume that's good job, right? That's shorthand for good job, yeah. But...
私のこと好きにしてください。
God!
めちゃくちゃにしていいですから。
Pulling out all the stops. Just no subtlety whatsoever. Just, good lord. All I could do was stand there in shock. No 3D girl would ever do this for a guy she just met. Not normally, anyway. It just didn't happen. It was hot, but it wasn't moe. Also, they probably wouldn't be wearing a competition swimsuit under their school uniform. I used every ounce of mental strength I had to avoid giving into temptation. As I stood there, enjoying my delusion, Yua suddenly fell backward and landed on her butt. She was rubbing her behind, looking a little teary-eyed.
すみません。CD を踏んづけちゃったみたいです。ケース割れたかも。
Uh-oh.
本当にごめんなさい。私、きちんと片付けますから。
いいよ。
I just wanted her to go home. What was that request she'd asked about a moment ago, anyway? Yua started to pick up the trash and CDs around her feet, even though I just told her not to. She looked so apologetic that I started to feel like I was the bad guy here.
じゃあ、足の踏み場だけでも、確保させてください。すいません。その後で、お願い言いますから。
She seemed like a mom as she moved around, cleaning things up. Someone who didn't care about what other people thought and just ran around doing whatever they wanted. Nosy and annoying. In a situation like this, was I supposed to be helping her? And then, as we both reached for the same piece of garbage, our hands would touch, and we would gasp and gaze into each other's eyes. Wait, this wasn't a romantic comedy. No way was I gonna help. In the middle of carefully piling up a bunch of magazines, her hand suddenly froze. She was turning away from me, and I couldn't see what she was holding. Something awkward, I'm sure.
いえ、気にしないでください。
She seemed really shaken. This was suspicious. I realized that she was in a position to see everything in my room. She might want to steal something. She might even think there were so many figures I wouldn't notice if she took one. Oh, maybe she saw the cross thing. And she's like, ooh. I don't know how public that particular murder is yet. Because he hasn't been keeping up on the news. So maybe that's been like publicized and she saw that like he had one of the murder weapons. But I would. You will take nothing. I knew all of my wives. All of my wives really well. If one disappeared, I'd notice immediately.
フィギュアには触らないでね。
はい。いえ、違うんです。その村中の同人誌っていうんですか？それが落ちてまして、ちょっと中身を見てみたら。
A blood-toon dojinshi. Oh, that was a naughty one.
すごかったのでびっくりしました。
勝手に見ないでよ。
すいません。
Oh my goodness. She quickly got back to work, and then when she'd secured enough room to sit, she turned toward me.
それでさっき言ったお願いですけど。
Here it was. I gulped as my body tensed up.
さっき言ったフィギュアの予約一緒に行ってもらえませんか？私そういうアニメショップみたいなところって今まで行ったことなくて、で、私なんだかすごくぶしつけなお願いしてますよね。すいません。
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a date.
私のせいで西条くんは怪我をしたのに。
This was dangerous. I needed to be really careful about how I responded. Sure, she and I had the same hobbies. She said she liked Sarah, too. And she listened to the things I said... What? She listened to the things I said like she actually cared. For an otaku like me, she was an easy person to talk to. But this was a trap. It had to be. This kind of stuff only happened in H games, not in the real world. I couldn't let the 3D world fool me. Think, what was Yua after?
すいません。今のお願いは忘れてください。
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
私
These things don't happen in real
いろ
life.
いろ話してくれるのが嬉しくて。
Crazy coinkydinks. She bowed to me. Most 3D girls were really bossy and arrogant. She was a rare exception. No 3D girl could possibly be this cute and kind. It was all an act. I was going to say no. I was going to come out and say it clearly, like a man. She looked up at me, and I could see that her eyes were damp. Was she crying? Because I didn't say anything? Had I made her cry? Please, anything but that. Not the tears. I'd only ever experienced anything like this in video games. My heart was pounding really fast. I even felt guilty. I'd always heard people say that girls use tears as a weapon, but only now did I realize that it was true. To be honest, I didn't know what to do. I only stood there. I just stood there, half stammering. I tried to say that I'd go with her, but I couldn't. What if I said yes, and the next thing she said was, "Don't take me seriously, idiot, you're creepy." I was so scared of the idea that I was struck silent. That literally happened to me, by the way. It sucks! Some people suck, dude.
無理してくれなくていいです。私のわがま
I
ま
don't think it's gonna happen
に
here,
四女君
but
を付き合わせるのは良くないですし。
this, I'm gonna be honest, this game did unlock some pretty traumatic middle school memories for me just now. Her eyes were even wetter now. It felt like tears could start pouring from her eyes any second.
行くよ。
言ってもらえるんですか？
I nodded helplessly. It was the only way I could think of to get her to stop crying. The whole thing felt like a setup, but she let out a sigh of relief and then took off her glasses to wipe away the tears.
断られて当然だと思ってたのに。西条くん、ありがとうございます。
She said thanks. I've managed to keep her from crying at least. I got lucky, I guess. Whew, why did this have to be so stressful? You couldn't let your guard down around 3D girls for a minute, damn it.
行くとしたらいつがいいでしょう。
What happened to that sad expression of hers? Now she looked really happy. Ah yes, emotional fluctuation. Like normal humans. Maybe she was making it up the whole time. If so, she had a future as an actress.
セイラちゃんの新しいフィギュアはもうすぐ発売なんですよね。
うん。きっとすぐに完売しちゃうだろうね。
だったら早めに行った方が良さそうですね。明日とか。
According to my schedule, tomorrow was a school day. This week, I had to go 3 times. Of course, that meant next week I only went twice. Tomorrow was going to be an even worse day than I thought. But Yua looked really excited, and if I told her I changed my mind now, she might cry again. Ugh, she had me in her clutches.
わかったよ。
I reluctantly agreed. Yua looked happy. But she couldn't fool me, okay?
西条くんは何組？明日放課後に迎えに行きますよ。
B 組。
2年 B 組ですね。じゃあ授業が終わったら待っててください。
I nodded, hoping I could get her to leave. I was going somewhere with a girl. This wasn't a dream or a delusion, was it? I tried pinching myself. It hurt.
それじゃあ長い間お邪魔しちゃってすいませんでした。足もし痛かったらお医者さんに行ってくださいね。
あ、うん。
I sat on the sofa and watched her go. Just before she left, she turned and waved at me.
西条くん、また明日。
Aww.
また明日だってさ。
Gonna be honest, I'm not sure I trust her either. Clearly some kind of, like,
しかも手を振ったりして。
I don't know if it's a sinister plan, but like, sums up. I felt a grin coming on, but I forced myself to stop.
あの女絶対僕に惚れてる。間違いないね。
Oh my god.
まあ、付き合うか付き合わないかは僕に選択肢があるわけだし、あの女を情け容赦なく振ってやるさ。お前は僕の女にふさわしくない。セイラよりいい女になって出直してこい。まあ、一生無理だけどな。何しろセイラは永遠の17歳だからな。みたいな。
No girl could ever be better than Seiratan. I picked up the figure and rubbed it against my cheeks. Seiratan looked happy. Was excessive. Alright, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I also dropped a quick save and also a regular save. Save numero uno. Eyes in eyes. Alright, I'm out. Bye.